is Sky Sports Live.
Round 11 of the IndyCar Series takes us to the 2-mile D-shaped oval that is the Michigan International Speedway. Series veteran Brian Herter is on pole, but after 2 pole starts and no wins so far, he'll be looking for his first victory of the season. Brits Dan Weldon and Dario Franchitti are going to have to pull out all the stops for victory today as they battle from the middle of the pack. Also in the mix is Thomas Scheckter, who after having a tough start to the season lines up second on the grid. And can the defending champion Buddy Rice make it 2 wins in a row? We're about to find out in the Firestone Indy 400 live from the Michigan International Speedway. Hello again, everyone. Well, with only 7 races left in this year's IndyCar Series, the gap between Dan Weldon and the other drivers is beginning to close. He has a comfortable 68-point lead at the moment over Sam Hornish Jr. and teammate Dario Franchitti. And although a somewhat conservative strategy in recent weeks has preserved the young Brit's lead, Dan really isn't entirely comfortable playing it safe. So, unhappy with his recent performances, can he add to his lead here at Michigan? Well, the battle will soon be underway, so let's first of all check out all the headlines. And Brian Herter will be looking for a win today from his 3rd pole of the season, his best finish so far being 3rd in the Indianapolis 500. And after a frustrating season so far, can last year's Michigan winner Buddy Rice beat the odds and turn things round with a win today? And the Brit boys have a lot of work to do from the middle of the field. Franchitti and Weldon, they line up in 7th and 11th place. And Yorkshireman Darren Manning will no longer be racing in the IndyCar Series. Target Chip Ganassi Racing has released him with immediate effect. More on that in a moment, and plenty obviously to talk about this week. Joining me in the studio to do just that, the former Indy Team Cool Green driver Johnny Kane, alongside him our regular racing pundit Paul Cherry. Johnny, good to see you again. Thanks for joining us. It's been a while since you're with us here in the studio. What's the career doing at the moment?
Well, at the moment I'm racing a TVR in the European Le Mans Series. Had a win at Spa in the first round, and unfortunately a non-finish at Monza last time out. So currently lying 2nd in that, and 2 weeks' time at Silverstone. So hopefully have a good weekend there.
Terrific. Well, it's good to see you again. Thanks for joining us. Looking forward to the race. And Paul, we've got a terrific forecast for this race, and I mean 400 miles over this great big circuit. It sounds like we're in for some good racing.
Yeah, it's a terrific circuit. It's all about speed. Johnny was actually involved in one of the most exciting races that I saw at Michigan in '99 in the Indy Lights Championship, but it's a fantastic circuit. This is really outside of the Indy 500. This is all about speed.
Yeah, and overall it should be a good race anyway, because the season's starting to boil down to those last 7 races. Lots of points at stake still, and a lot can still happen.
That's exactly where it's at. People are now seeing that perhaps Dan's luck of run, or run of luck even, has really gone now, and they're catching up slowly. Schecter's filled up, he's had a win, and the Penske boys obviously coming off their result last week. Okay, it wasn't good for Elio, but they were very, very competitive. But everybody's looking now to play catch-up.
More on that in a moment, involving the Roger Penske boys. But Johnny, do you think the Brits are going to go today, because they're sort of not ideal, they're in the middle of the grid? What sort of race do you think they're in for?
I think being with Andretti Green, both of them are standing in a good position. They've got 2 other teammates. 4 people working together on a circuit like this can make a big difference.
Yeah, and overall, I mean, how do you see things shaping up with these 7 races left? What do you make of it?
Well, Dan's obviously still in a very good position, unless he has some bad luck and a few crashes, really. I think he's looking pretty good. He's done a fantastic job this year, and really winning the Indy 500 as well has just been an awesome season for him.
Yeah. Paul, let's go back to that story I mentioned in the headlines. Chip Ganassi Racing, they've released Darren Manning. It's with immediate effect, and he won't be having his contract next year. Does that come as a shock to you? I mean, what's it all about?
Politics mainly, but Darren had been doing a very, very good job for Chip Ganassi this season. Certainly I felt from this side of the table. He'd been their leading point scorer. Most times he'd been their best qualifier, but he'd been dogged by enormous bad luck. But everybody in the Chip Ganassi camp has had the same problem. Their particular batch of engines is not the strongest, and they're having to overdrive and overcompensate because of this. That leaves you driving on the ragged edge, and as we saw last week, when the car gets really ragged, it's a dangerous thing to be in. So I think it was a case of he had the least strongest contract, but
Right.
I think we'll hear a little bit in a moment.
Okay, absolutely. Well, we hope that now joining us live on the phone to talk about this is Darren's manager, Mike O'Brien. Mike, thanks very much indeed for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
Tell us first of all what this is all about.
Well, I mean, Paul summed it up really. You know, it was a bit of a shock to us. I was over at the Milwaukee race and had a meeting on Saturday evening with Mike Hull about what was going to happen and engine developments and stuff like that. And really, Chip called Mike Hull on Tuesday and said they needed to release Darren. You know, I think Paul summed it up. It's certainly not to do with his on-track performance or his popularity with the sponsors and everything else. So it was, to say the least, it was a pretty big body blow to us.
I'd like to talk more about those, if you like, side effects in a moment. But what about Darren himself? How is he after this?
Well, obviously, you know, it was a big blow. I mean, he'd spoken to Chip only at the weekend about how Michigan, you know, should be better for the team, and I know they were excited about some engine developments, which clearly Scott Dixon's got in his car for this weekend, and fairly clearly the other boys haven't, you know. So he's obviously very down, but you know, we've been in much worse situations over the years, and Darren's got himself out to the Champ Car race this weekend at San Jose, and he's talking to people there. I'm talking to a number of teams in IRL and Champ Car already, and we're determined to continue his career and bounce back pretty rapidly from this.
Well, now, according to the figures I've got here, Ryan Briscoe and Scott Dixon, Darren's been beating both of them in times and positions, and 13th in the championship. I mean, it's not that bad a record.
Well, no, I mean, that's the thing. As Paul said, it certainly can't be based on his on-track performance. So it must be due to something else. And you know, between you'll have to read between the lines, as Paul did, about that what might be, which is, you know, as Darren and I have had to do really. But I say, you know, we're determined characters. Darren's obviously a great talent, and he's got a mission to win the Indy 500 over there and try and win championships in America. And we're not going to let this deter us. You know, he's not the first driver that Chip's released sort of unexpectedly, or, you know, at a strange time. So we're just going to bounce back like we've always done, and hopefully Darren will have a platform to show his talent.
Yeah, I mean, Darren normally such a smiling, chirpy, optimistic sort of guy. He's got a very positive attitude to everything.
Yeah.
I imagine he's taken it badly, but as you say, he's determined to overcome it. So what next for him, realistically? What will he now do?
Well, I mean, we officially is under contract with Ganassi till the end of the year, and you know, nothing would surprise me anyway. But I think it's unlikely he'll do any more races for Ganassi this year. But it's been made clear to us, in fairness, that should he receive another offer this year, that we want to accept that Ganassi's won't stand in his way. So the way the IRL's gone, you know, including drivers like Darren, who you know, you suffer an impact and you miss a couple of races because you've got, you know, compression factor or something like that. You know, as Michael of Ganassi himself said to me during this last week, that you know, if someone from one of the teams puts a car in the wall and can't drive, who are they going to call? So we're not going to jump into the wrong opportunity, but my guess is one way or another he'll be back in a car this year, and our main focus is on getting an absolutely top-line drive in IRL or Champ Car for next season.
OK, just let me ask you a little bit financially. I don't want to know all the details, but is he going to be all right financially? Are they going to pay up the rest of his contract or what?
Yes, I mean, they've made it very clear to us that they want to keep him under contract for the rest of this year, which means he'll get paid for the rest of this year. And obviously, should we receive another drive, then obviously we'd just discuss that with them. But in fairness, all our dealings with them have been absolutely, totally straight down the line, and they're fantastic people to deal with. And you know, I wouldn't expect anything else from him, frankly.
And where is Darren actually right now?
He's in San Jose at the Champ Car race. I spoke to him about 3 hours ago. He wasn't quite sure what time it was because he'd only left yesterday to get there. But I can't go into details, but he's there as a guest of one of the leading Champ Car teams who are pretty quickly on the phone to us. So, you know, I think we'll have a number of opportunities come up fairly rapidly, and, you know, getting over the shock of it now and just being really positive.
Mike, thank you so much for talking to us, and also give our best to Darren when you next speak to him.
Yeah.
We'll obviously look forward to seeing him again soon.
Okay, thanks, guys.
And wish him luck. Yeah, thank you very much. There
Thanks,
we are,
bye.
Mike O'Brien talking there about Darren Manning. Just a brief reaction from you, Paul, to what you just heard. Does that make sense that he might be looking already at a fresh opportunity?
Without a doubt. I mean, he's a racing driver, and
a good one.
As Johnny will tell us, you know, they have a short shelf life. You have to take every opportunity. What Mike was saying is exactly right. The IRL is fairly unpredictable. People do, unfortunately, still get hurt, and there may be opportunities there. But Darren is an exceptional all-rounder. He's been a gritty driver from the word go, and he'll put himself about and get in there, and Mike will find an opportunity for him.
Yeah, and Johnny, presumably you would obviously join in with that and think that there will be a vacancy for him somewhere. He's such a good driver.
I'm sure, and he's very personable as well. So you know, he's well liked around the paddock, and I think that could help him as well.
Yeah, but and also, Paul, I was making the point, he has got this bubbly, chirpy, optimistic outlook on life. I can't imagine him being down for too long, even though he's taken a body blow.
One of the things that does amaze me in Chip's decision is that Darren has really put himself about as one of the sponsors' favourites. Scott has never been noted for his charisma when it comes to PR, and Ryan's just learning the ropes. Darren's slotted straight in there. When I was at Indy and had the opportunity to take lunch with him and see the way he was dealing with other people, he's fantastic. Sponsor's dream. So he's going to use that to his advantage.
Okay, boys, thank you for that. More on Darren Manning, obviously, as we get it. But let's now remind you of what's happening. With 7 races to go to the end of the series, let's take a look at how the points actually stand right now. There we are. Dan Weldon leading the way with 377. Tied together, Sam Hornish Jr. and Dario Franchitti on 309, just ahead of Tony Kanaan. Then comes Elio Castroneves, Scott Sharp, Vitor Meira, Thomas Scheckter, Brian Herter and Patrick Carpenter. So an awful lot at stake, and that's about to happen. So we're going to take a short break right now. We'll be back with all the action from Michigan very soon. Stay with us. Hi there, welcome back. Action just about to get underway in a couple of minutes' time over at the Michigan International Speedway, and it should be terrific action too. Right now what we're going to do is hear from some of the drivers. First of all, we got a chance to catch up with Thomas Scheckter.
Thomas, what is it about this track here at Michigan that has brought you such great results?
I'm not sure. I think, you know, part of it's I've come here with some great cars and, you know, Chevrolets last year, so we sure want to give them a good result here. And our car seems to work high and low, and we haven't got any drag on the cars, so it should be quick up front as well.
Well, I have to ask you, basically your team is the same, your car's essentially the same. What is it about Thomas Scheckter that's so different? The last 5 races you've had 4 top 5 finishes, including a win. Last year Thomas Scheckter versus this year's Thomas Scheckter, the difference?
I'm not sure, you know, but it's great to be back up front again, and so much motivation throughout the team. And I think the one thing that was a big help was that win at Texas. It really gave everybody the confidence to know that we can do this week in and week out, and so far we've been doing it. And for sure it'd be great to have another W here.
So there we are, that's Thomas Scheckter. We can now hear from a couple of guys who, when we last saw them, really weren't speaking very much to each other because they just had a major coming together. Sam Hornish Jr. and Elio Castroneves. It was a big incident at Milwaukee, but here they are together telling us what happened then.
What have you done to resolve the issues of last week at Milwaukee? Elio?
That was pretty easy. I just gave my bank account, and he's ready to write a check. No, just did you get my bank account? No check.
No. Hey, what did Roger Penske do? Now, what has he done to step in and maybe assure this doesn't happen again?
You know, basically, Roger said, you know, you guys are teammates. You know, you need to do whatever it takes for you know, both of you to be up there and to be finishing. Obviously, Elio and I, you know, never want to run into each other under any circumstances. We run each other close, and you know, we both you know, push each other to the next level, I guess, as far as being competitive. But I think the thing that Roger just wanted to make sure we don't have this problem again, give each other a little bit more room out there. You know, we're fighting for a common goal, and one car is going to go to victory lane in the end. And you know, we just need to realize, you know, when one car is a little bit quicker than the other one, let that guy go, because it could benefit both of us in the long run.
400 miles on a high-speed, high-banked oval. What's the key to success today, Elio?
Well, obviously, find a partner. Basically, Sam and I are going to, unfortunately, start in the back. That's not the way we want it, but it's a long way, 400 miles. You need to stay draft because, obviously, the other guys with the more power, they seem to go pretty easy out there. But be patient. Let's go for it.
He's going to go for it. Well, Paul, what do you think of that? Because those two guys, I mean, it's easy to sort of dismiss it now, but it could have been a very nasty accident.
For sure. Any accident at Milwaukee is going to be nasty, not least because there's no safety barrier there. But one of the things about the accident there, it was two very, very complementary teammates racing very hard. And Sam maybe trusted his luck a little too much, and obviously Elio didn't appreciate going in the wall.
No.
Roger definitely didn't.
No, Roger would have... they made it sound as if Roger wasn't very upset, but I imagine he was quite cross.
He would be, because at the end of the day he's quite right. You know, they're both there. One car goes in victory lane, but they need the other car to run second. Penske has probably the largest company backing up their whole project. They have a big place in the UK here at Poole, which does all their R&D work.
Yeah.
They have a huge racing facility over in Reading, Pennsylvania. They're very serious about it, and something like that is not taken lightly.
Absolutely.
But Sam Hornish has done a lot of races, and he hasn't had many accidents, and he's saved a lot of them. So we have to look at him and say it's a one-off.
Okay, well that was last week. Now let's back to this week. We're now going to hear from three drivers: Dario Franchitti, Tony Kanaan, first of all Dan Wheldon.
Dan Wheldon, how important is it going to be to have these three teammates if you hope to get back on the winning side of things today?
Well, these guys have, you know, generated most of my success between them. They've made me a much better person, and, you know, as teammates on a super speedway, you can definitely help one another, and that's what we will be there to do. Tony and I are standing a little further back than Brian and Dario, but we're definitely going to try.
Tony Kanaan, 1 year ago, it was a miscommunication that may, and I say may, have cost you a chance for a victory. Does this place owe you a race?
Oh, I think we owe ourselves a race. So this place has been so good to me. It gave me my first win in 1999. So and one of the most disappointing weekends for me was last year. But we'll try to fix that. We definitely have good cars here, the four of us. So we'll try to take control of the front.
I was going to talk to Dario Franchitti, but Dario, you're still too busy trying to learn how to strum that guitar in Nashville.
Well, I got to get it back from the team first. I guess they sent it away to get a replica made. So as soon as I get it back, it's going to be music lessons at my house.
Okay, let's get the verdict down to my two studio guests as to how this race is going to go. It looks to me pretty wide open. What do you think, Johnny?
I think we might find one of those four guys is on the top step at the end.
Yeah. Well, go on, let's nail you down. Give me one name to look out for. We'll have to have a little bet, you know, 10p. 10p on the winner.
Go for Dario, my old roommate.
Go for Dario?
Yeah.
Okay, and Paul, what do you make of his chances?
Probably quite good, but quite interesting. The warm-up for the race this morning, Scott Dixon was the fastest, closely followed by Thomas Scheckter.
Yeah.
I quite fancy Thomas around here. He is on a high himself. He won here, he had his first win here. It's the sort of track that suits him, and the Chevy engine at the moment is putting out some serious horsepower.
Right, so it's Thomas Scheckter for you, but I mean, what would this type of track, 400 miles, it's a big D-shaped oval, 2 miles, whatever, what are the tactics that a team needs to adopt here and drivers got to do in particular?
Ensure your bloke is up the front for the last 25 laps, because none of the rest can count.
No, so that's it. Simple as that. Sounds easy, Johnny, when you say it like that, doesn't it?
Well, it's basically the car in front makes a hole for the cars behind, so it's much easier to go faster if you're behind. Really, no one can get away because of the drag, so it's important to pick someone to work with, and you know, 4 guys in the same team can be a big asset.
Hot, dry, sunny conditions. It looks pretty good. Is that good news or bad news for the drivers?
Well, it's not very physical, a circuit like this. Although it's very high speed, you know, averaging almost 220 miles an hour. It's really not physical. So heat and weather shouldn't come into it today.
Terrific, boys. Thank you very much. So it's Dario for Johnny, Thomas Scheckter for Paul. Right, the green flag then is imminent, so I'm told. What we're going to do right now is cross over to our colleagues in America. Our American commentators bring you coverage of all this. Will be Gary Lee and Larry Rice. Let's go there now and get underway with some terrific action from Michigan.
Well, Scott Dixon, Buddy Rice having a lousy season. He's up there inside the second row. Live coverage on a beautiful Sunday afternoon here in the Irish Hills that surround Michigan International Speedway. We're right in the midst of 6 IndyCar Series races in a 7-week period. This is the third. We'll take next weekend off and then hit right back 2 weeks from today, as we're about to get the command to fire the engines. The drivers suited up.
Yeah, I think they've already started the engines. I think they gave them while we were away to commercial.
They're not very loud. We need some more ambient sound down there in the pit lane. In the front row, Brian Herta, his third pole position of the year, outside Thomas Scheckter, who won here 3 years ago from the pole position. Occupying the second row on the inside, Buddy Rice, by far his best qualifying effort this season. He won this race last year. And Scott Dixon, a champion 2 years ago of the IndyCar Series, will start outside the second row in his best start so far this year. In the third row on the inside, Scott Sharp, his 109th start in this series. And Buddy Lazier in the third Panther car this afternoon. In row 4 on the inside, Dario Franchitti is tied for second in the point standings, 68 points behind the leader, and Danica Patrick, the leading rookie so far this season. In the fifth row on the inside, Vito Mira. This is a guy that could win his first race here this afternoon. Townsend Bell subbing for the injured Tomas Indy. Then in row 6, Weldon, the points leader. He's led all season long with 4 victories, and Matsura will start outside in the row 6. In row 7, the winner last week, Sam Hornish, his 14th win of his career in the Indy Racing League, and Tony Kanaan, who won the championship last year. He's 4th in the point standings. Jacques Lazier, his first ride this season for the Target Chip Ganassi team, will start inside row 8. Castro Nevitt's outside. Rookie Ryan Briscoe inside row 9, and Roger Yasukawa outside the 9th row. In the 10th row, on the inside, it's Patrick Carpentier, who actually won here at this racetrack back in 2001, and outside Alex Barron, who won here in 2003. The 11th row is young Jimmy Kite on the inside, and even younger A.J. Foyt IV on the outside. And rounding out the field, Ed Carpenter will be alone in row 12 here this afternoon.
It'll be interesting to see how quickly the guys can move up from the back. Especially Castroneves and Hornish, or if they can. And Dan Weldon also starts back in 11th position, so he has a long way to go. Tony Kanaan back in 14th.
They're going to be looking for drafting partners early on.
We've got some very, very good and talented guys that are going to start deep in the field. And a handling, although we say this is a horsepower track, and it really is, you have to have the horsepower. You do have to have that car handling to an extent and be able to draft. If you can't handle in traffic, then you're going to be in big trouble.
18-degree banking in the corners. The front straightaway is banked some 12 degrees and 5 degrees on the backstretch. And we have a huge crowd here this afternoon, Larry.
Yeah, it's the biggest they've had in Michigan for many years. They're very happy. It's 400 miles, 644 kilometers. The pit window is going to be 34 to 36 laps. You're going to see them stretch that a little bit. And, of course, Brian Herta on the pole. He's the guy that everybody's looking to, but everybody deep in the field knows that they do have a chance to win this race.
It is a long race, and we'll shoot the race from many different camera angles, including those on board. Here's Thomas Scheckter. Scheckter will be starting in second position outside the front row this afternoon. He's back in the yellow Panther color scheme. There's Scott Dixon. He'll be starting in 4th, his best start so far of the season. And there's a look from Jacques Lazier, his first ride for the Ganassi Target team. And there is Scott Sharp, the veteran and former champion from the very first season back in '96. And there's Dario Franchitti from actually inside his helmet, starting back in 7th position. And there's Danica Patrick looking back in the cockpit. She'll be starting in 8th position.
She should have a good run here today. She likes this kind of a racetrack, flat to the floor, stab it and steer it sort of a racetrack. They're going to have to get lined up. They're supposed to get the green flag.
Yeah,
they're pretty by, and they're pretty ragged
right now for going green the next time by.
You see everybody kind of catching up right now, trying to get up there. But the trouble is, you're trying to catch up, then you got to put on the brakes, then you got to get kind of all settled again. They're so far behind that it makes it pretty tough. You don't want to be stepping on the brakes just as the front guys are standing on the gas.
Herta and Scheckter in the front row. There's that second row of Rice and Scott Dixon. The third row is Scott Sharp and Buddy Lazier. Then it's Dario Franchitti and Danica Patrick. And there you'll see the pace vehicle kind of veer off to the left. If they're going to turn them loose this time by, we'll wait and see.
And notice there's 2 of those yellow cars out there. Buddy Lazier is in the second yellow car. It looks almost identical to Schechter's car.
What is this here? This is pretty ragged. 3 wide at the start.
Wow.
Before they ever get the green flag.
A couple of guys back there jumped the gun, got way out front before they got going and had to get out of the throttle. You see Scott Dixon on the outside. Somebody up there in the front.
3 and 4 wide through the first turn.
Buddy Rice has got a problem. He's falling way back right off the bat. He's still falling back.
Drag race down the back straightaway for the lead. Schechter on the high side. Herta down low. Who's going to lead this first lap?
Well, this is the thing about Michigan. These corners are wide and big. When you're on that outside groove, sometimes it's a little bit farther around. It's a little tougher to take the lead. Didn't do it.
Well, Herta's going to lead the first circuit. Kanaan has moved all the way to 3rd position. Look at Kanaan on the inside in that green and white car.
Wow, he started back in 14th position. He got a terrific start. He must have been one of those guys that was 3 and 4 wide on that start, because he gained 11 spots.
I'm not so sure that Brian Barnhart might go back and review that start.
Well, we'll see what happens with that. But Kanaan right now, after starting 14th, moves up to 3rd. What a terrific start for him.
And Rice has dropped all the way back to 14th position.
Yeah, it looked like he missed a gear or something on the very beginning, and he fell back. He was probably running 10th coming out of turn 1.
There's Kanaan up to 2nd, goes around Schechter. Schechter drops to 3rd. Dixon is 4th. Buddy Lazier is now in 5th position. Mira is 6th. 7th is Bell. 8th is Hornish. 9th is Sharp. 10th is Weldon. Franchitti is back in 11th.
And Schechter decided he didn't want Kanaan going around him. He just pulled to the outside and went on by. There goes Dixon, and there goes Buddy Lazier around Kanaan.
Lazier making it 3 wide, trying to duck to the inside.
It's a little early, and here comes another Chevrolet on the outside. That's Townsend Bell. So 3 Chevrolets now running right up front. We knew the Chevrolets were strong. We weren't sure they were quite this strong, but Townsend Bell has moved right up amongst the big boys right here early in the going.
Well, Franchitti has dropped 3 positions on the start, and Rice has dropped back to 12th position now.
I think something happened on the start. I would not be surprised if he didn't have transmission or engine trouble right off the bat, because he is just steadily falling back, and he's had a heck of a time. Doesn't seem to be getting a lot of straightaway speed.
And Patrick has dropped back to 18th position after her 8th position starting spot.
Wow, they either really missed something badly on their setups, or they've got some sort of mechanical problem, because they both qualified very well, and they've really fallen back. You can see Rice right now doesn't seem to be gaining on anybody. He's not losing very much, but he's not gaining on anybody either.
Well, keep in mind too, the weather has been very consistent through this weekend, so it wasn't a case of practice and qualifying in like cool conditions and it got real hot on race day.
And look at this. That's Hornish, who's moved up as well. He's really moved up.
There have been a number of surprises in qualifying and some surprises in the early laps of this race.
Yeah, you can see these guys up front. Look at this.
Kanaan has lost a number of positions now.
He got a great start, but now he's been falling back steadily. It looks like that great start is being kind of worn away.
Nullified by something. We want to show you a replay of this start. Now you're on board with Franchitti.
And that's
Rice.
Who just
now watch to the left side. Look at this move here. Look at that move by Kanaan.
He went by 3 guys like they were screwed to the racetrack.
Just thread the needle.
He just really blew by him quickly.
Well, Herta continues to lead this thing over Schechter. Schechter's teammate Bell rides in 3rd. Weldon now is up to 4th. Dixon has dropped to 5th. Kanaan is 6th. Mira is 7th. Hornish is 8th. 9th is Buddy Lazier. And 10th is Franchitti.
Yeah, and Weldon seems to be on the move. He seems to be very quick right now. It looks like Townsend Bell is quite content just to follow his teammate around there. And Weldon's the guy who's not going to make the move. Yeah, he's making the move.
He goes by the low side of Bell to take 3rd position.
Looked like Bell might have moved up, and he moved up the racetrack for whatever reason. Not sure whether they just lost the front end or moved up there on purpose.
Well, he may realize that Weldon was faster at this juncture and moved up and let him go.
Well, there
goes Kanaan to the inside.
Yes, he's making the pass. He's been up and back.
You're riding along with.
He's been back and forth, up and down. He's been trying to get around, got back around Dixon, I should say. Hornish right behind them. He's made a pretty good move up to 7th.
Well, Kanaan made that daring move early. He had the momentum, but once he got to the front, those other cars that he passed on the start may have had a little more gumption, maybe a little more horsepower.
Well, they got, yeah, whatever happened.
Handling.
I think he just got a huge run on everybody. He kind of laid back, got a huge run on everybody, and while everybody else was trying to miss Buddy Rice, everybody else had to get out of the throttle because Buddy Rice was running so slow, and he just took the chance, stuck it in through there, and threaded the needle, like you said, through about 3 or 4 cars.
Well, that's Rice and Castroneves for 11th and 12th, so Rice has dropped off after starting in the 3rd position, and Patrick has dropped back to 19th after starting 8th. So those are 2 of the Rahal Letterman teammates. The 3rd Rahal Letterman teammate, Mira, is up in 8th position.
Yeah, Rice has actually come back a little bit. He was back in 14th or 15th just a few laps ago. He finally kind of got a handle on whatever the problem was and got going again. But he was really having all kinds of problems there earlier.
There's Hornish on the rear wing of Bell. That's the battle for 5th position. Dixon now is in 7th. 8th is Mira. Now Mira started in 9th, so he's picked up 1 position since the start.
Well, Hornish didn't wait on his teammate. They talked about drafting each other to the front, and Hornish forgot to wait on him, it looks like.
Now this is the battle for 4th, was Kanaan, Bell, and Hornish right together on the racetrack. There is your leader, Herta, who has led from the opening green.
It helps you when you're faster than a guy is, but if the leader is faster than you are, just like Herta right now, even the drafting, you can't keep up. If somebody's really switched on, they're really quick, they can just kind of pull away. You can see Weldon right there. He tried to get right up behind Townsend Bell, lost the front end, went way up the racetrack, lost some ground. Looks like he's catching back up now. He looks like he is a little faster, but not fast enough to get around Townsend Bell right now.
Once again, from the green flag, your leader has been Brian Herta. Of course, he's seen his teammates drive to victory lane this season, and although he's had 3 pole positions, that's not the same as finding victory lane.
No, it certainly isn't. There's Sam Hornish. He's in 6th place, right behind Tony Kanaan, trying to move up. These guys are not, they know right now that all they have to do is keep the leaders in sight. It's not all that important unless you start losing a lot of time to be in the lead or to be up front. Although Sam Hornish is not the kind of guy that wants to run in 6th place for very long, no matter what.
Well, Sam Hornish lives in Defiance, Ohio, which is just over an hour's drive from this racetrack. So he has a lot of relatives up here. And Buddy Rice's mom's family is actually from the Lansing, Michigan area, which is not far away. So he has a lot of first, second, and third cousins here this afternoon watching him, and right now they're a bit disappointed because Rice is back in 10th position.
Well, and Brian Herta's from Warren, Michigan, so he's, you know, all those guys, originally his family is anyway, so all those guys close to home.
And of course, Penske is headquartered in Detroit, Michigan, not far away.
You can see Thomas Schechter hanging right in there, just kind of going to school right now, following along, moving up on the racetrack.
I'd like to answer the question that Jamie Little asked him earlier. What's the difference in Thomas Schechter? Maturity.
Yeah, I think it is. I don't think there's any question that he has matured. He has learned that it's more important. I mean, he charges just as hard. We saw when he ran in Milwaukee last time. He was charging. He was wrestling that thing around. I mean, he was riding that thing like a bucking bronco sometimes. He was so far sideways and sliding it and slipping it. But he didn't push it over the edge. I think that's the difference. Sometimes if it's not handling right, you're better off not to push it over the edge and finish the race than you are to try to make it go faster and end up in the fence.
Well, he probably carries an Indy car as far as one can carry it, because you can't carry one of these things too far if it's not set up.
No, these cars, there's no Indy car in the world that you can make up a lot of time for. You can drive in different lines, you can change things a little bit, but if it's not handling, you're not going to gain a great deal of speed. You might as well go back in the garage and work on it.
Interesting shot you were just on there with Franchitti, who was back in 7th position. There's Dan Weldon right behind Townsend Bell. That's the battle for third position. And Danica is way back, mired in 20th position after starting in 8th. So we talked about this is her kind of track. She likes this big, wide, fast racetrack, but apparently that car's not set up properly because she went right to the back of the pack.
Yeah, she's quite a ways back right now. She's hanging with this group of cars. There's about 4 or 5 of them. Jacques Lazier, Barron, Yasukawa, all right in front. She's shifting the gears and trying some different things to catch back up. But right now, she's not handling all that well and not able to get up with that lead pack.
You watch that groove through the start-finish line into turn 1 up on that 18-degree banking.
And you can tell she's lifting getting in the corner. She's having trouble getting into the corner because you should be. Oh, look at this. Kanaan went way high, and now he's going to let Franchitti go by. He tried to keep Hornish from going around and ran real high.
Even higher.
Hornish just didn't back off. He didn't give in. And when Kanaan forced him to the high side, Kanaan cost himself 2 spots instead of 1.
So Franchitti goes by, Kanaan as well. So Franchitti is up to 6th. Kanaan is 7th. Let's go back to Danica backing out of the throttle. If that car stood upright, she should be flat out around the racetrack.
This racetrack, if you want to win at this racetrack, you got to run flat out. You cannot be lifting even in traffic, no matter what. You don't want to be lifting. So you just got to figure out what it takes. But for some reason, she's lifting getting in the corners.
Well, here's what happened a couple of laps ago. There's Hornish on the high side. Kanaan says, well, I have to let you go.
Yeah,
here comes Franchitti down low.
He lost the front end. He had to climb out of the throttle just barely so he didn't run into Hornish. And when he did, Franchitti went by.
And now Kanaan has gotten back around Franchitti. So Kanaan back to 6th. Franchitti is 7th. Vito Mira is still in 8th position. Dixon has dropped to 9th. Rice is 10th. So some of the guys that started way up in front are back in mid-pack right now.
And you can see that you can run a couple of different grooves. Kanaan and Franchitti running 2 different grooves. Now Weldon moves down to the bottom groove.
This is the battle for third position. Weldon inside of Townsend Bell and takes that position. So Weldon, who qualified in the 11th starting position, now is up to 3rd. Bell is back to 4th. Hornish is 5th. Kanaan is 6th. Franchitti is 7th.
Well, Weldon's been complaining all weekend about how the car didn't handle all that well. It wouldn't stick on the bottom. Whatever they've done to help that car seems to have helped him because it is sticking on the bottom. He came from deep in the field up front and has been running very quick laps this whole race. So whatever changes they made, even though he was kind of moaning most of the weekend, it certainly helped him.
Alherda has led from the start. We've completed 26 laps. And now you go back on board with Danica. Danica back there in the 20th position.
Yeah, that's Carpentier and Jacques Lazier right in front of her. And she hasn't made much headway. She's still running just about the same distance behind him. Looks like maybe she gains on him down the straightaway. She gets a little steam up down the straightaway.
So she's backing off at the corner. That's where she's losing it. Well, she's going to stay on the low side and keep her foot in it. And maybe pick up a position from Carpentier off the corner. Nope. Not enough momentum to go on by.
And remember, she's still learning. You can see she's got some straightaway speed here, and she gets a little advantage to him. But when she lifts like that right there, you can't make a pass here at Michigan when you have to climb out of the throttle. Whatever the reason is, you've got to keep that momentum. This is a horsepower and a momentum racetrack, and once you lose that just slightly, the momentum just slightly, it costs you a lot of time on each lap.
Well, you go back to the front, and that's the gap between first and second. So Herta has led every lap here this afternoon. Schechter perhaps content to ride in second position with Weldon third, Bell fourth, and Hornish rounds out the top 5.
Hi there, welcome back. The race is still underway. We should be crossing back to the action very soon. Let's just get a verdict from my 2 studio guests on those opening laps. Paul, what did you make of the start? I mean, it looks for a start, my first sight of it, it's a big, what looks to be a fairly safe and open track.
Yes, so there's a lot of space there, and I'm sure Johnny can testify to the fact that it is, as an oval goes, there's a lot of space and it is fairly safe, but it's very fast. How safe is 200 plus mile an hour?
Yeah.
I thought the start itself was a little bit scrappy. I was surprised they flagged it off. There wasn't much in the way of bunched up rows, and 1 or 2 people got some early advantages, shall we say.
Johnny, you went for Dario Franchitti. what do you make of what he's done so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's very early days, obviously. Him and his teammate, Tony Kanaan, are running together at the moment. And Brian Herta, obviously, is right out front. So if they can get up behind him, it'd be very strong.
We haven't seen too much incident so far. There are obviously a lot of miles still to go. But it does look like a track where you can do overtaking, undertaking, whatever, and passes. And there is lots of room. That's the encouraging thing.
Yeah, that's right. It's a very wide oval. It's very long. You've seen already from the race so far that people are doing a lot of different lines. And first pit stop coming up here. And
that's Townsend Bell coming into the pits, Paul?
Yep. Yeah, we calculated that roughly sort of lap 32 to 35 we'd see the pit window. And with no yellows, it's going to be fairly important that these guys have quick, trouble-free pit stops.
Absolutely. Let's now cross back to our American colleagues Gary Lee and Larry Rice.
Driving a Chevrolet.
Well, let's see. He got in and out. Looked like in pretty good shape. Looks like a lot of other people heading for the pit, so we saw a lot of tires laid out there. That was lap 30.
First round of pit stops apparently under the green unless something happens here. As your leader stays out, Herta now has completed 36 laps.
That was lap 35. The Townsend Bell came in, so here comes Mira. Here's a Honda that's coming in, and Mira has usually been one of the first Hondas to make pit stops.
Well, how long will Andretti Green leave Herta out? And let's see if Scheckter with the Chevrolet has to come in before Herta pits.
Herta should be one of the first.
He's coming in. Here comes Herta.
Herta should be one of the first in because he's been out front. Mira's back out, so here comes a lot of guys. Lap 37. Looks like an awful lot of guys coming in at this point.
Well, Scheckter becomes the second leader of the afternoon.
Here you can see Herta very methodically. The tires, one tire's off, on. Should take them about another 3 or 4 seconds after the tires are on to get all the fuel in. They want to make sure they get all the fuel. Didn't appear to be any.
Coming in.
Didn't appear to be any panic. Scheckter on lap 38, so he went one lap farther than those guys, and I think he did that because he stayed back in that draft and he conserved his fuel. Here come Kanaan and Franchitti. Remember they were switching back and forth? Maybe that's what they were doing too, trying to conserve the fuel by following each other every other lap.
Now here they come in together.
We'll see. Scheckter. We've seen him get a little over anxious before getting out of the pit area. Looked like
10.3 second stop for Scheckter. Here comes Kanaan and Franchitti.
Looked like everybody did a great job on their pit stops that time. Everybody that's been in so far, anyway.
Get Danica out.
Yep, everybody in and out. Not much incident there. We have had a lot of pit road accidents in the past here at Michigan for one reason or another. They've tried to change a lot of things. They've tried to give them bigger pit boxes. They've tried putting teams together. They've tried several things to. They've also put all the point standings. I mean, the guys farthest up in the point all pit together now, and that all has helped in getting guys in and out.
Well, Carpentier.
Oh man. Thomas Scheckter has got a pit speed violation. He's got to pull through, so this is going to put him way down. Probably cost him maybe not a whole lap, but man, what a tough break.
Well, that's the kind of infraction that can take you right out of a chase for a win here.
Yeah, that's a
now
kind
he as a driver has to refocus and not let that take him out of rhythm.
Well, yeah, if you let that get to you now, you're going to be in big trouble. As long as he didn't lose a lap, he'll be okay and he can get back up front. But you know, you've got to just let that go and not do it again. I mean, we talked about how nice and smooth everything was, but that's the first big mistake we've seen here in this race so far, and then it was made in the pits.
Well, Herta has reassumed the top spot after the first round of pit stops. We've had 3 different leaders so far. The most race leaders we had back in 2002 at 9, and the fewest race leaders was 3 just last year.
So Scheckter was able to stay on the lead lap, so that's a good thing. He's a long way back now, but at least he is on the lead lap. So he's just got to take his time and you know, wait for the next yellow to get back up in front with everybody else.
You saw that graphic that Herta has led all but 3 laps so far here this afternoon at Michigan. Herta, Kanaan, Sam Hornish, then Dan Weldon and Townsend Bell. A good ride for Townsend Bell in that Rockstar car, subbing for the injured Tomas Indy.
And you can see this is a group that's running back in 5th, 6th. That's
Franchitti
riding along
Bell
with.
right behind him. And Mira back in 7th. Rice is now back up to 8th position after dropping all the way back to about, 12th or 14th at one time.
Right. Weldon.
Evans is 9th.
Weldon also having a good run as he's right in front of Franchitti right there.
Well, we have 3 drivers a lap off. Carpenter, Briscoe, and Kite. You see Briscoe right there in the target red and white car.
Well, if you'd have to pick a guy that's the most surprising, I think you'd have to say Townsend Bell. He's having a terrific run. He's riding right there with the big boys, just now going around Franchitti.
I'd like to see this kid get a full-time ride because he's been very competitive when he's been out there.
He had some good runs in 2004 when he was with these guys, but you know, he just whatever. You have to remember, in 2004, the Chevrolet was a stinky engine. It was awful that year.
And that's being kind, actually.
That's been very kind.
So there's Kanaan in 2nd position. Hornish is now 3rd. Herta has led all but 3 laps so far this afternoon. He led through the first pit stop, then relinquished the lead for 3 laps as he made the pit stop. Kanaan rides in 2nd. Hornish there is in 3rd position. Weldon 4th. Bell is 5th. Franchitti is 6th. So the top 6, 4 are Andretti Green team cars.
Well, and that's we've been accustomed to seeing that. Yeah, not really a surprise. We've been accustomed to seeing that. But right now, Sam Hornish, I think, doing a terrific job as he's using Eddie Carpenter right there to use the draft to try to get around and catch up with Tony Kanaan.
Riding along with Franchitti back in 6th position. That is Bell directly in front of him. In front of Bell is Weldon.
Well, you can see Weldon just had a little wiggle right there as he just looked like he lost the rear end just barely coming off of that corner. But Townsend Bell hanging right in there with that Chevrolet. Buddy Lazier back in 10th place in the other Chevrolet. The only 3, Bell, Schechter, and Buddy Lazier, not having quite as good a day as everybody thought he might have.
Well, Schechter is now up to 14th position after that drive through black flag for a pit speed infraction.
Well, he really needs a yellow flag because he's 23 seconds down. He doesn't have anybody to draft with, so he's really back there in trouble. And you know, he really needs a yellow flag to get him back up and be competitive again. If he gets back up there in the pack, then he can maybe use that drafting skill to get back up towards front.
Well, the fewest caution flags we had here was back in 2003 with only 23. The most was 25 in 2002. We've gone right now 47 laps as you're on board with Scott Dixon.
Yeah, and he's fallen back a ways. He's about 10 seconds behind the leader and doesn't seem to be going as well. The first 5 or 6 laps looked like he was going to be a real contender. He was the fastest car this morning, but it looks like his car is not handling as well in traffic as it needs to. You have to be able to draft, you have to be able to run fast, but you got to, besides the horsepower, you have to be able to run in that traffic and use the draft.
You have to wonder what prompted, and we'll never find out, the firing of Manning this past week. He was the highest in points for this entire Target Chip Ganassi team.
Well,
and I think that could be just the first of a lot of changes in that racing organization.
Well, Chip Ganassi is going to have to make a lot of changes. This team has been very bad all year long. It was very bad last year.
The word that you used to refer to the Chevy engine last year?
It was stinky.
Stinky. We could probably define that as the way this team has performed this year.
They just have not done well. And it's not all the, if it was a driver, then you'd have one driver outshining the others. But when all 3 drivers are doing poorly, and it's not only the driver, it's the team, it's the engineers, it's the handling, it's the engines. You can blame it on whatever you want. But, this engine that Scott Dixon had was supposed to be a new engine, a new model of the Toyota. Looked like it was just exactly what the doctor ordered. But as the race has gone on, it doesn't seem to have quite whatever they need to stay up front with the big boys.
Now there's Townsend Bell, currently in the 5th position. He follows Herta, Kanaan, Hornish, Weldon. Right behind Bell is Franchitti. And there's Cam Franchitti in the blue and white car.
Yeah, but look who he's running with. I mean, he's running right there in that pack with some of the best in the business. He's done a terrific job.
Can't run with the big dogs down the porch. He's running with the big dogs.
Well, he's running right there with them, and he's done everything right so far. And, you know, he's been very, very impressive to me here today.
That was Weldon trying to make a move with the high side of Hornish, and right behind Weldon is Bell. And Weldon has a nose out into that 18-degree banking. There you see the Canaan green and white number 11. Then Weldon. Weldon takes that position, at least momentarily, from Hornish. Hornish slides up behind him. So Hornish slides up behind Weldon right in front of Bell.
Well, Firestone brought some new tires here. They brought a new right or left side tire. They've changed the construction a little bit on the fronts. A lot of the drivers were not complaining, but they didn't think that the tires handled as well in the bottom groove. Now, we've seen today that a lot of guys are running that bottom groove. Doesn't seem to be bothering them now, but during practice and qualifying, there were several of them that said that, you know, these new tires just didn't seem to be as good on the bottom as the old tires did.
Saw what happened on the straightaway. They were all lined up. Canaan, Weldon, here they are. They get to the turn and watch them scatter. They need the air on the front wing.
Right. You don't want to
trim these cars out as much as they possibly can on this big, fast, wide racetrack, but you got to have some air on that front wing.
You see Townsend Bell shaking the back end a little bit right there. Is you know, again, same thing. Right in line. You don't want to push the air down the straightaways. You don't want to be in front of them. But when you're going through the corners, you need that downforce both on the front and rear wing in order to make the corner.
Well, watch this. How close this is on the backstretch. A couple laps ago. Hornish and Weldon.
Well, these guys, they've battled like this a lot. I mean, they have run close a lot this year, and so far so good. They trust each other. You've got, at these speeds, you've got to trust the guys you're racing with. And every one of these guys will tell you if there's a guy out there they don't trust, and they won't do things like that. They won't run side by side with him. They give him plenty of room.
Well, Herta has to love this because he's looking in the rearview mirror enjoying a half-second lead while these guys duke it out for second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth.
Well, see, these guys, while they're running sideways or side by side, he's pulled away. He's gained another second on these guys here in the last few laps because they're all back. Woohoo! Townsend Bell got the back end out right there as he was slipping and sliding a little bit. Boy,
he's doing that almost every lap now.
Yeah, it looks he's doing a good job hanging onto that thing because it's looks like it's getting a little slick out on the racetrack.
But how many catches, how many saves can you have in one afternoon?
Well, you don't want to let it happen too often, that's for sure. You've got to have good
roll the dice and catch that rear end and not collect the fence. Right along with Franchitti. We talked about Herta kind of being the test driver for this team, and you're right. Apparently they hit on something, and it's making it right for him this afternoon. A victory would do wonders for his psyche because right now he feels like the lost member of this race team.
Well, there's no doubt that even though he would not ever say that, and neither would anybody on the team, you know, he is the fourth guy. He's the low man on the totem pole, and he doesn't like that very much. He wants to be one of the big guys and win races. There's no question.
Of course, he won a race when he was subbing for Franchitti. When Franchitti broke his back, he was subbing for Franchitti, won a race, and that really helped give him a full-time ride with Andretti Green. There you look at Townsend Bell. This is the battle for fourth position. Franchitti on the inside, Bell on the high side.
Andretti Green running 1, 2, 3, and 4. So those guys, you know, they've done their homework. They've got things going their way at the moment.
Well, right now you saw Yasukawa go a lap down, so there are 5 drivers a lap off the pace. And the next driver to be lapped would be Danica Patrick.
Yeah, she's one of that group that was right in front of Brian Herta, and I'm sure she doesn't want that to happen. She would very much like to see a yellow flag at this point. Have a chance to go in and maybe change something on that race car.
Well, obviously, if they made any changes, we didn't detect any changes during that first pit stop. It hasn't helped.
No, it has not helped. And Scheckter, even once he got back there, he's been running some pretty quick laps. But he has not been able to really gain a lot because Herta's just running so fast. He's been able to keep from getting lapped, and he's gained a few spots. But time-wise, he's running just about the same speed as Brian Herta.
Well, you take a look at those off the pace from where they qualified. where they started this race. Danica is back in the 18th position at 10 spots off where she qualified. So that car has been off the mark since they dropped the green flag.
Well,
and Patrick has now gone a lap down.
Yeah, and you can see all that. Those guys.
Now she's about to go a lap down. Not quite. There's the interval back. There's the leader looking back from Patrick's car. Yeah. Ryan Herta.
She's going to work pretty hard to stay in front of him. She's going to make him
make that car real wide.
Yeah, she's going to make him do it the hard way, but he has been so quick all race long. It doesn't appear like he's going to have that much trouble. Although that corner, she was clearly faster than he was through that last corner. He gets down and uses the draft. Then he just pulls to the
almost
outside.
Contact with 2 cars right in front of her.
Yeah, that's
the number 51
Jacques
car,
Lazier and Barron.
Jacques Lazier in number 10, and Barron in number 51.
Oh, they came pretty close to each other again. Barron comes out. Jacques is not very. Jacques is a pretty brave guy. You're not going to scare him when you come up like that. I'm sure.
You see the leader coming up behind these cars. There's Jacques Lazier riding on board on lap 67.
Yeah. The last thing Herta wants to see is guys up there
racing for position.
Yeah, and touching wheels or almost touching wheels like that. That's got to be a little bit disconcerting when you know you're so quick. You don't need those guys up there doing things like that.
I'll back up to 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th right there. Kanaan, Weldon, Franchitti, and Bell. Back on board with Jacques Lazier.
And you can see Jacques having a little trouble too. He lifted coming off of the corner that time as he just doesn't look like he's handling all that well. Danica Patrick following him.
Trying to figure out where she's going to go. There's Hurt on the high side. He's trying to get by Danica.
He wants to go around all of them on the wide side, give him plenty of room. Oh, he got pretty close to the wall himself that time. You can see some black marks. Looks like somebody's touched the fence there coming off of turn 2.
Now you go back on board with Jacques. That car on the right would be Jimmy Kite.
And you can see that Brian Herta, once he kind of got a line on these guys, and once they got in a single file, when they were running double file, he wasn't too sure what he wanted to do or how he wanted to do it. But once they got in single file, he just picked them off one by one, got around all of them there in about a lap and a half.
Well, Barron, who won this race a couple of years ago, mired back there in 16th position.
And again, the Toyotas, especially of Carpentier, Team Cheever, those things just don't seem to have the horsepower as Mira in the pits. That's going to put him way behind the 8 ball too.
Put him a lap off the pace. He'll get that lap back in the leader's pit, but an early stop for Vito Mira.
It's only been 32 laps, and maybe he's not getting nearly the fuel mileage that everybody else is. But you know, everybody else will have to make a pit stop pretty soon. They all went 35, 36 laps last time. I think 37 laps for Scheckter was the longest that anybody stayed out.
Herta has led, with the exception of the 3 laps that he relinquished the lead when he made his first pit stop. He has led from the starter's green. Kanaan now is in 2nd with Weldon 3rd. Franchitti is in 4th. So look at that. Andretti Green running 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Gee, what a surprise. But this is going to be very interesting. If they can run this whole race with no yellow flags, which is pretty improbable but could happen, it's going to be a blistering pace for these guys.
That's A.J. Foyt in the 14 car, the red, white, and blue ABC entry. And there's the 17, the blue and yellow of Vito Mira. Still looking for his first win, and we felt like it should come sometime this season. But
actually, it should have come last season.
Well, true.
He had some problems or whatever, but still struggling a little bit. And doesn't appear to be all that fast.
He's off the pace. He's off the pace.
Whatever reason, he must have gone in early because he was having some handling trouble, and it looks like he has not solved that problem yet.
Scott Sharp right now back in 10th position. That's Castroneves to his left in 9th.
Yeah, those two guys have been battling each other for the last 10 laps or so, and still Sharp, who qualified extremely well on the outside. You can hear him shifting gears. He gets down in there, but he and Castroneves just been kind of running like this for the last 8 or 10 laps.
And this shifting gears on this racetrack is relatively new, is it not? Because a few years ago, they just put the throttle down and turned left.
These cars, it's so important to be right on the top of the rev limiter. It's so important. They're shifting 5th and 6th gears. They're using them to keep that thing within a 200 or 300 RPM range all the way around the racetrack, because the max horsepower in these things is right at the very top. And so they put those 2 gears pretty close to each other. And, you know, if they think it helps them a little bit, they'll shift them whenever they need to.
Yasukawa, the 24 car, making his second stop of the afternoon.
Well, most of these guys have gone 35, 36 laps now, so they'll all be heading for the pits pretty shortly. They can only run a couple more laps.
Right front tire changer will make the signal to... So when will Herta stop?
Well, Herta is going to, I'm thinking, in the next 1 or 2 laps. He's run 37 laps since the last pit stop, so he's going to have to stop, I'm guessing, 1 or 2 laps from now. He can't go much more than 37 or 38.
Well, Mira heads back for the pit lane, so whatever the problem was, it was not just the need of fuel and tires.
Well, this is really going to put him behind the 8 ball. This is going to put him way back and pretty much take his chances for a win, throw him out the window. You know, might have had a bad tire, whatever. Now it's something worse. They're not changing tires.
Go back to the engine cover. Here comes Herta.
We'll see what your leader does. Again, he's the first of the Andretti Green team to come in. He doesn't want to do what Scheckter did. He doesn't want to make a mistake and go beyond the speed limit.
Well, Kanaan then assumes the lead, our 4th different leader of the afternoon. Then it's Weldon, then it's Franchitti. So how will they stagger the Team Green drivers?
Wow.
10.1 second stop.
That was a good pit stop. That was a good pit stop. The real key here is to just make sure you get that fuel hose out of there cleanly once you get ready to jerk on it, because if you don't get it out of there when you pull, it can be a disaster in the pit area. There's Townsend Bell. He too had a pretty good pit stop. He got out with the rest of them, so that's a good thing.
Well, looks like the afternoon could be over for Vito Mira.
Yeah, they picked the engine cover off. That's never a good thing.
Buddy Rice in and out.
Buddy Rice has made a pretty good comeback since that terrible start, dropping back to 14th or 15th. He's very steadily and very slowly moved his way back up towards the front of the pack.
And here come 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in the race.
Wow. Well, now then you get to test your wares against everybody else, see who can really do the best pit stop. Really,
Franchitti, there's Kanaan.
Unless somebody makes a terrible mistake on the tires, it all amounts to how quickly that fuel goes in.
9.6 second pit stop for Tony Kanaan. Weldon out in front of him.
You can see all 4 of those guys almost identical pit times, because it takes just about the same amount for everybody to put that much fuel in.
Here's Danica making her 2nd stop of the afternoon. Remember, she's a lap off the pace. There's Scheckter. He has to watch his speed limit. He got caught earlier. Danica's underway. 8.9 second. Good stop for Danica.
Yeah, they got her in and out. She's trying to get that lap back. They may have short fueled her, just trying, well, not with 8.9. They're going to short fuel her. They'd have done it a lot quicker than that.
Matsura stays out, and he assumes the lead. Now, here's a problem that was taped a couple laps before.
Oh, he's got the tire. He's got the wrench stuck on there.
Had a bad wrench. That was the Rockstar car. Wow. Townsend Bell. Bell back in the 11th spot right now. Matsura is the leader. He has yet to make his 2nd pit stop. He's the 5th different leader of the afternoon. Herta, Scheckter, Carpentier, Kanaan, and Matsura have all led this race here this afternoon. Second position. As you take a look at the 2nd 10, then Townsend Bell back there in 10th. 3rd is Kanaan. 4th is Hornish. 5th is Franchitti. So Hornish, the only non-Andretti Green driver in the top 5. And we told you earlier that Roger Penske, who one time owned this racetrack, has won as a car owner 9 times, but he's not won here since 1991. So Hornish in the position perhaps to give the captain a win here this afternoon.
And he's the only non-Honda in the top 7. So everybody else in the top 7, a Honda power plant. Castro Neves is 8th, and then Buddy Lazier 9th in a Chevrolet.
Well, and also Townsend Bell. So Chevys are 9th and 10th right now. The other Chevy is Schechter, and Schechter is back to 13th. That primarily because of that infraction in the pit lane that forced him to do a drive-through penalty.
Yeah, and he's dangerously close to losing a lap. So he's, you know, I'm sure he's going to do everything he can do to prevent that. But boy, he's a long ways back. Doesn't seem to be going nearly as quick after that last pit stop as he was before.
Well, there you look at 2nd, 3rd, 4th. There's 5th also in your picture frame there. There's 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Kanaan right there in that green and white car, sandwiched between his teammate Dan Weldon and the Penske driver of Sam Hornish.
Yeah, and I think that these guys are all pretty content riding where they're at right here, right now. They know they don't have to make any real big moves. Let's go down and see if we can talk to Michael Andretti for just a second.
What he thinks is accounting for the domination of his driver, Brian Herta, today.
I don't know. I mean, the car's just been perfect all weekend, you know, ever since qualifying on, and he's real happy with it. But, you know, we've been here before. It's a long way to go, but so far so good.
But as a driver, Michael, when you have a perfectly balanced race car like this, what does it allow you to do?
Be a little more patient, you know, when you come into pits, be a little more patient, things like that. But, you know, we haven't seen how he's run in a group yet, so he's been able to run out front. So hopefully we can keep him out front. I don't want to stick him back in the field, so we'll see.
We will see. Very fun.
Well, there's a good point that Michael makes. He's been out in front in clean air, except when he's been lapping people. He's never really been challenged when he's had a lot of cars around him.
Well, right. He's never been in traffic except to lap somebody that's quite a bit slower than he is. Remember, Schechter was right with him, ran just as fast as he did for the first few laps. But as soon as that pit stop happened, once he got back in the traffic, he's never looked as fast or been as fast as he was then.
It's been electrical problems for Mira, and he is 7 laps off the pace now in last place in 23rd position. But that was not a surprise when we heard about electrical problems when he took the cowling off the car.
Yeah, it looks like they've changed that box, and he's running quick now, but he's just so far behind. He's running back up around 215 miles an hour, which is the pace that most of these guys are running. But just so far behind now, he's got no chance of picking up his first victory.
Well, Herta has an excellent chance to pick up a victory here this afternoon.
Certainly does. And look at the lead he's got. There's 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th on back, and they are about straight away behind Brian Herta.
About a 7-second advantage right now.
Right, and they're not gaining on him. He's actually been pulling away slightly on each and every lap. So these guys are not in a very envious position right now. I'm sure Kanaan and Weldon are saying, man, I don't know what he did or what he's doing, but whatever it is, it's better than I can do because I'm pushing as hard as it'll go.
Well, we're 10 laps away from halfway, and it's been all Brian Herta.
Well, no question. When you get a race car like this, you don't get them very often. You don't get a race car that is this dominant, is this good very often in your career. So I'm sure Brian Herta knows that. And right now, he wants to take very good care of that car. He doesn't want to take any chances. He's got a lot of time to be patient here, so he doesn't have to do anything silly with lap traffic.
Well, Herta has led 5 different races this season. The most was 39 laps at St. Petersburg, where he started from the pole position. But, man, he's clicking them off here this afternoon.
Yeah, he's led twice that many laps today already, just about.
Also, Herta leads Weldon, Kanaan, Hornish, and Franchitti, and we have yet to reach the halfway point.
And welcome back to our coverage of the Firestone Indy 400. Let's talk about one or two things that have happened so far in this race. No yellows as yet, but obviously still a long way to go. Anything can happen. Paul, what did you make of that incident that we saw just briefly? Townsend Bell, who at one stage was lying 3rd, had a big problem in the pits, didn't he?
Yes, he was running exceptionally well considering he'd just gone in for this one race. Now watch the right-hand front wheel guy there. He is struggling with his air gun. He's had to swap guns and retighten that wheel and put it out, and he went for about 11-12 seconds stop, which pushed him down from 3rd to 10th at the moment. But the Chevy engine's definitely the engine to have. He and Scheckter are running fast laps.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. And overall, I mean, we're watching the action here. We haven't seen the usual thrills and spills. It's been a race that's been, I mean, exciting and fast, but we haven't seen what we really want, that sort of edge-of-the-seat stuff, have we?
No, the yellows haven't come into play, so everybody's running on standard strategy, which is obviously maximum MPG at maximum speed. So there's not much moving going on in the pit stops, but as you say, it's a long race. We're only halfway into it, and mark my words, there will be a yellow.
Johnny, what about this guy we're seeing now, Brian Herter? Nobody's really talked about him much. I mean, he's pole sitter, currently still leading. He hasn't had much trouble to contend with. The car looks to be running pretty well. I mean, how do you assess his chances?
I think he's looking very strong today, actually. If he can run out and on his own and go quicker or as quick as people in a pack, his car must be working really well today. I know that, you know, speaking to Dario last year, he said Brian was very underrated, but very, very good at the technical side of things, and had really helped the team, you know, get the cars very well set up. So he is a strong, you know, part of that team.
Yeah, and there's a good battle going on for second, isn't there, Paul?
Yes, I mean, it's the two Andretti Green guys with Sam Hornish, as we see here, sniping at the back of Tony Kanaan, and that's been the battle almost from the off. Andretti Green, as Johnny have said, that, you know, they've got all their cars sorted. They're all four of them are running in the top 5 at various points. So there's not much in it, but certainly it's a long way to go.
Okay, guys, thank you very much. Let's cross back to the action once again. Rejoin Gary Lee and Larry Rice.
Right now, it has been just a struggle to maintain that points advantage he has.
Yeah, he's really struggled here the last few races. He's running much better here today than he has. After all week, I thought he was going to have another bad day here today, because he complained about how badly the car was handling, how it handled in traffic, how it felt like it was always loose and just was scaring him to death. And then comes race time, all of a sudden everything seems to be just perfect, as he's running really great. Right along again with Jacques Lazier, who's back there a lap down in 18th spot. He hoped to come here and kind of rejuvenate his career, but he's not.
I'm not sure that's the team to do it with.
No, he's not having much.
As bad as that team has performed this season.
No, they've had some trouble here today. Briscoe is also not running well. He's down in 19th, so those two guys are running just about the same speed. And of course, Dixon has fallen back to 12th. So once again, Team Ganassi not having a good day at all.
Well, Herta continues to go through traffic, slices through the field, and in doing so continues to up his lead. Normally, when you get to lapping, sometimes those guys can slice into your lead, but it hasn't happened here this afternoon. Herta now almost 10.5 seconds over Weldon.
And you see back a little ways, that's Catherine Evans and Buddy Lazier right there. Those guys running back in
the 9th position.
8th and 9th position. Buddy Lazier's car looks almost identical to Schechter's. You can see the bright orange mirrors on that car. I don't know whether you can see it right there or not, but if you get a little closer shot, you can see they put bright orange mirrors on it. Otherwise, they look identical.
Well, primarily because it's Schechter's backup car.
Exactly. They had sponsorship to run 3 cars up here. And of course, when Thomas Indy got hurt, they had to bring in Townsend Bell.
Bring out that platinum car. That's a pretty car to see.
Yeah, Weldon all of a sudden seems to have kind of figured out something with the draft that's working very well for him.
A little bump right there on the racetrack. And now he makes a move on the high side of his teammate Weldon. This would be for 3rd position. We're about 10 laps away from that 3rd round of pit stops. We have been green all the way.
And you can see once Franchitti gets out there through the corner, it's a little bit farther around, way up there on the outside, and you just can't quite get enough momentum to go on around those guys. He's just a little bit more momentum off of that draft down the straightaway to pull it off.
Well, they had that big momentum pass on Hornish. Dropped Hornish back to 5th position.
That draft that he's been using seems to work a lot better down the front straightaway than the back straightaway. He doesn't seem able to to do it nearly as well, but the front straightaway, kind of the big D shape that they have up there, it's a little longer and it's been able to work better for him.
Well, look at what's right behind him, though. They're all stacked up their nose to tail.
Yeah, everybody.
Lap cars in that gaggle of cars there.
There's a couple lap cars, but a lot of those guys are running right with them, and that whole pack has really caught up with them right now. Mir, of course, is a lap
There's
down.
Rice. There's Rice in the 15 car back in 6th position. You saw Sharp there in 7th. And look at this battle here.
Castroneves is back there. He's caught up with him. Buddy Lazier. So all those guys have been able to catch up with our lead group over the last several laps.
And Mir's running with them right now, too, after being 8 laps off the pace with ignition problems.
Yeah, and I'm not sure they'd want to see him up there running with him, even though he's just out there racing. Since he is so far down, they just as leave see him drop back a little bit and let these guys go at it.
Here's that run again across the start-finish line.
This is where it really gets the run, down this front straightaway, and then he gets right here. It looks like he hits a brick wall entering into the corner.
Like he pulls the parachute.
Yep, pulls the parachute, and he just goes backwards all the way through the corner, and then time he gets to the straightaway again, he's lost that whole car length that he gained down the front straightaway.
And look at this. Hornish has to be saying, get out of here, Mira. You're 8 laps off the pace.
Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly what he's saying.
Townsend Bell in early for his 3rd pit stop.
Yeah, that's very quick. I think he was one of the first ones in last time, though, so maybe this is some strategy they've got going. But it puts him a lap down, so he's got to hope these guys all make it to their next pit stop.
Look at Vito Mira on the high side of Hornish.
Well, these guys are all going to have to stop here shortly, and Mira won't, so they'll get out of he'll get out of their way, or they'll get out of his, whatever.
Well, Herta still out in front. He's led except for the 2 times he stopped.
He's run 38 laps, so he's going to have to stop one of the next times by, as everybody else stopped a couple of laps later than he did the last time around.
There's Briscoe.
He's a couple laps down, not having a good day for Team Ganassi.
Here comes Buddy Rice. Here comes your leader. So that should give Kanaan the lead.
Well,
Kanaan will lead for the 2nd time this afternoon.
Well, he knows that all he has to do is go in there, stop, make a nice pit stop. He wants to be very patient. He wants to, you know, doesn't want to make any mistakes. He's got such a fast race car.
Take as much fuel as he can. Obviously, it takes longer to fuel the car than to change the tires. 11.3. So we've seen faster stops here this afternoon. But again, he wanted to be on the money, precise. Look at that change in the front wing for Castroneves.
Wow, Castroneves, those guys, that was a much faster pit stop. Herta was a very slow pit stop, but it was very deliberate. He wanted to make sure, absolutely sure, that he didn't make any mistakes, and they didn't.
Well, here comes Sharp, who had been in 8th position. Sharp comes in. Now Kanaan, Weldon, Franchitti, the top 3, but they'll have to stop the next couple of laps. Hornish is now 4th. Matsur, remember, led for a lap when he stayed out, when all the other leaders pitted earlier in the 2nd round of stops. Clock now on Scott Sharp, and 10.6 for Scott.
Yeah, he's back out in pretty good shape. But you're right, all the rest of the Andretti Green team is going to have to come in shortly.
Well, here comes Franchitti.
I'm surprised they all didn't pit together like they have been. They've all pitted at the same time previously. Kanaan, Weldon, and Franchitti. This time Franchitti comes in a lap before these other guys.
I remember Weldon questioned the pit strategy a week ago when Franchitti went so long on a tank of fuel, and they brought Weldon in. There's Schechter, who was about to go a lap down.
Well, let's see. They need a good pit stop again. They're so far behind, they're not going to make it up on the racetrack. They just need to get back out there in good shape.
That was a 9.9 second stop for Schechter.
Well, see, that's 2 seconds he gained on Herta, so that's a very good pit stop, and it's very important coming later in the race.
Danica makes her 3rd stop.
Well, she's already a lap down, so she has really nothing to gain by making a mistake in there.
drive-through penalty for Patrick Carpentier because of pit speed infraction, so he'll have a drive-through penalty. There's Weldon making his stop.
Weldon, Kanaan, and Hardish have both gone 41 laps. Boy, one thing you don't want to do is run your guy out of fuel. I'm not sure. That just tells you, though, when you're drafting, how much fuel you can save. You can run maybe 3 laps longer than some of the other guys under that draft. Yeah, I was going to say, Kanaan and Harnish can't stay out there much longer. You can't afford to make that mistake and run your guy out of fuel.
Working on lap 120 of 200 scheduled here this afternoon. Harnish is also in.
Well, you hear him revving the engines. Very anxious to get going again. See right there, Harnish, he got a better run out of the pits. Looks like, although he might have to fall in behind him because that's a very narrow lane and only enough room for one car. But he had a very good run coming out of the pits on Kanaan. Kanaan did not seem like that first 30 or 40 feet he did all that well. Boy, look at the cars pulling out and then everybody else trying to dodge them because they're not up to speed yet.
Well, Herta's back in front where he's been all day. Well, I tell you what, this would be a heartbreaker if he should lose this race.
Boy, look at this. Mira is still battling with Kanaan and the same guys all over again. Wow, that's not exactly what there's Franchitti. Mira's just kind of playing the spoiler.
And Castro Nevis right together.
Yeah, that whole group of cars right again, even after the pit stops, they're very close. Uh-oh.
Is that the 20 of Carpenter or is that the 24? That's the 20 of Carpenter. Eddie Carpenter in the Vision Racing number 20, and that could be the first yellow of the afternoon.
Pretty amazing to see this race go 121 laps without a yellow. Yeah, it's going to be a yellow. He stopped the car on the racetrack. It's hot in there. He's going to get out.
So the first yellow of the afternoon on lap 122. And he just expired an engine, I'd say.
Yep. I don't think there's much question about what happened right there.
The liquid on the racetrack as he pulled to a stop.
Yeah, that's
see where it happened on the track. Obviously, we were watching the leaders at the time and see how much moisture or oil might be on the racetrack.
Yeah, this is not a racetrack that you want to run through any oil and hit the wall. You can see there's a couple of scuff marks back there. There's been a couple of guys very close to that wall, close enough to make some scuff marks on the wall.
This was a pit exit on those last stops. And that is Hornish and Kanaan, and Hornish had him right there, but we were not under yellow. So.
We weren't under yellow, so it doesn't matter anyway. And Hornish had to give way because he was on the outside, and Kanaan had the line into that very narrow pit exit.
And once again, under this yellow.
Yeah, because now it's going to bunch everything up again. But well, we knew it was going to come sooner or later, though.
But when you know that your car is as good as Brian Herta car has been, does that leave it so that it's kind of, as we say in World Series of Poker, a push?
Yeah, I mean, but still, you just never know. When you bunch everybody up, you know, they can stay with them again and anything can happen. But, you know, it's just the way it is.
The speed has been fast and furious here at Michigan International Speedway, but we are under the first caution of the day. We'll do the bunch up and find out, can Brian Herta continue the domination?
You're right, Jack Arute. Our first yellow of the afternoon. They're all bunched up behind Herta. There were some that wanted this yellow to come a little earlier before they got lapped, though, like Danica Patrick.
So Brian Herta continues to lead in Michigan. It's finally our first caution of the race, and whilst we're under that yellow, Paul, let's just talk about what we've seen. First of all, the incident that led to the yellow.
Just Ed Carpenter's engine
suddenly
Toyota
expired.
Sadly just expired, yes. I mean, these engines are under enormous loadings here, as you can imagine, and for sure we were going to get one, but that's definitely a racing driver deciding to bring it back to the pits rather than park it earlier.
Yes. And you said, as he pulled up, you said, I should get out of that if I were you.
Well, it's certainly the smoke's getting quite bad at this point, but there's no flames. It appears that it's just purely oil smoke.
Yeah, and Johnny, these engines, as Paul says, they take an enormous amount of stress in a race like this, don't they? Such high speeds.
Well, basically they're running flat out the whole time. You see them do one downshift into each corner sometimes, but really most of the time they're very high up in the revs, and quite surprising that one hasn't gone before now.
Yeah, but overall Brian Herter continues to lead the way, Paul, and again, we're saying it's not a race full of yellows, but there's still some good racing going on out there.
There's some terrific battles. The impressive thing that Johnny and I were talking about with Brian Herter is that he's able to maintain his lead fairly easily. He's not drafting anybody. He's doing the hard work because he's got to punch that hole in the air, and nobody can latch onto his tail and get hold of him. So he's got an extremely well set up car, but he is probably the most technical driver in that team.
Yeah. Why is it that nobody can get to him? Why can they not make a move on him?
He's just got a very sorted car. He's got the aero package just how he wants it, and he can totally feel that car. And I think the problem for the rest of the field as well, as you said, it's fast and furious. There's a big battle for second, there's a big battle for 7th place going on. These guys are bunching up and racing each other. In the meantime, the leader's skating away.
Your man Thomas Scheckter, what do you make of his race so far? He had the penalty, didn't he?
He's been up and down. He got a drive-through which really slowed him up because it was in a green period, and he lost about 8 or 9 places. But again, he's making his way back through the pack. Chevy engine's strong, as strong as the Honda.
Yes, we're over halfway through the race now, Johnny. We're still on that yellow. What do you make of how this might pan out? You went for Franchitti,
yeah,
and I went for Daniel Weldon. Admittedly, that was after the race started, but there we go. It doesn't matter. But we're all looking in with a chance.
Yeah, I think so. Like we said at the start of the programme, 4 Andretti green cars have been very strong all year, and on a circuit like this in particular, having 3 teammates in good cars can be very beneficial. There's still quite a few laps to go, and they'll all be a little bit conservative, I would say.
Do you know this circuit?
Yes, I raced on this circuit twice, and
believe me, he did an extremely interesting race.
Yeah. These IRL races on this type of track are very similar to an Indy Lights race.
Tell us more about this race. I mean, Paul's just teased us there with this interesting race. What happened?
Well, these guys are actually quite sensible. When I was doing Indy Lights, I was a few years younger, and there was people younger than me who were more than happy to have a little bit of a rub with you. So,
right. You were talking earlier about wheel touching at 200 miles an hour.
It can be pretty interesting.
Yeah, sure. But tell me what sort of circuit it is. Is it smooth? I mean, you can obviously see the odd sort of bump here and there, but by and large it looks a pretty good surface.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, these cars are probably running 1,500, 2,000 pound springs, so the suspension travel is minimal, so any little bump will show up quite noticeably, but as you can see from the camera here, it's not really moving around too much.
Yeah. Paul, final thought from you then about the way it's all going out. We're still under this yellow. Oh, I tell you what, let's now go back and hear from Chip Ganassi.
Right now, Jamie, we're week to week with Jacques Lazier. We wanted to give him an opportunity and give Toyota full effort with their hard work they've been doing on the engines. When it comes to the road races, Scott Pruitt's a team member of ours, and we talked about possibly putting him in. He certainly knows his way around Sears Point and Infineon and Watkins Glen. So, unfortunately, we have a conflict there with the Infineon race. We have a sports car race in Mid-Ohio the same weekend. So we're actually looking for somebody to wheel this thing at the road races. There's certainly a lot of good drivers out there.
Scott Pruitt, that's a name we've been hearing today. Of course, with Firestone, he got his win here 10 years ago in Michigan. So we'll be looking for that seat, the number 10, to be filled. But perhaps Jacques Lazier will fill it for the next few races. Guys?
Well, it'll be interesting to see what transpires when this season is over with Ganassi Racing, because they're making some changes right now, and I think you'll see a lot of changes at year's end.
Yeah, he's going to, as we said, he's got a lot of race teams, and he's going to be making a lot of changes everywhere, I think, after this year, because they've had a couple of bad seasons. He doesn't want to go through that anymore. As you can see, a lot of people now coming into the pits trying to get an advantage. The leaders did not necessarily all head to the pits, but everybody else from about 5th on back looks like they headed in. They're going to try to take advantage of this, maybe outlast everybody once the pit they go back out.
They really can't go the distance, though, on this tank of fuel.
No, they can't go the distance, but they still can. If they get off sequence, some of these guys who haven't been running up front, they've been trying to get off sequence somehow to get things going again. I'm not sure exactly what what everybody's hoping, but I can tell you the first 4 guys, they're betting that they can outlast them no matter what.
Well, Herta is the guy to beat here this afternoon with his teammates chasing in pursuit.
So there we are. This is the scene coming to you live now from Michigan, the International Speedway. We're redoing the action. Buddy Rice we're seeing in picture there. Let's go to our commentators Gary Lee and Larry Rice for the latest.
He's had a pretty bad year, really. This is the second time in 2 races he's had a problem very much the same. So he's not looking very happy. He's actually didn't look very happy all weekend. He was kind of out there by himself all weekend, walking around, not really looking like a happy camper. He was a little better after he qualified. Thought he might have a really good run, but obviously mechanical problems again, putting him up by the wayside.
So the car being pushed back into this only yellow of the afternoon so far, because Eddie Carpenter lost the engine in division number 20. Herta, Weldon, Kanaan, Franchitti. Hornish is back in 5th position. 6th is Dixon. 7th, Catherine Evans. 8th now is Buddy Lazier. 9th is Sharp. 10th is Matsuura. Then Schechter and Bell. Those are the drivers on the lead lap. Now Rice will continue to drop to the bottom of the serial scoring, and that would put Patrick up in 13th position, the first driver off the lead lap.
Yeah, too bad she got that lap down, and she was would have been maybe in good shape if it hadn't been for that.
Back live with 1 lap to go before we turn them loose here at Michigan. Our only yellow of the afternoon for Eddie Carpenter, who blew the engine in division number 20. And there's a look at the driver that just dropped out with half shaft problems. That is Buddy Rice.
Yeah, and he's really, he's conferring with his crew, but he is, not a very happy guy. This would be interesting to see now. The first 5 guys did not make a pit stop. Everybody else made a pit stop. They can go about another 8 laps longer than anybody else.
Looking at Buddy Rice, 2040 Indianapolis 500 champion. And Buddy, we see you out of the car now for the 6th time this season. What is it now?
Looks like we broke another drive shaft, so we'll just, with the week off, we'll just have to see what we got to do to fix it.
What is happening with you guys this morning? We saw you leaking fluid. It looks like that's the problem again, but you guys seem to come back and you were actually looking good.
I mean, I think we're competitive for a G-Force here, and I think we're looking okay. Just not getting any help on some deals, so.
Guys, restart.
We are back to racing 3 wide. Look at this. Well, they didn't like the idea they're all bunched up behind the leader. Look what happened.
Man, oh man, he got slingshot. They got the slingshot on him. They all got on the throttle before he did. He got past by 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 guys before he's back to 5th, and here comes Hornish. He's going to be back to 6th. We're going to find out real quick if his
how fast that race car is.
If it's fast and if he can handle it in the traffic, because right now he's got plenty of it. He's got it all around him.
Well, Weldon now is your 6th different leader of the afternoon. The track record for this event is 9 different leaders. So we've had our 6th different leader. There's Franchitti. He has yet to lead here this afternoon. Our leaders have been Herta, Schechter, Carpentier, Kanaan, Matsuura, and now Weldon.
Boy, you can see that those guys just got a terrific start. Herta, I'm not sure what happened to him, but boy, he was really caught with his pants down as everybody blew by him there. They got a big run on him. He missed a shift. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but boy, he really lost a lot of spots in a hurry.
So Weldon now with Kanaan riding 2nd, then Franchitti. There's Danica, currently in 13th position.
So these guys are, you can see battles. Now it's going to turn into a real race. Now that this has happened, Herta has got to really
start pedaling.
He's got to start pedaling. This probably has shaken him up a little bit. He didn't expect that to happen. He thought he had a pretty good start, and all of a sudden he's back in 5th spot. You can see him waving that layover flag. A lot of lap traffic in there. So he's now going to get up there and battle like everybody else has been doing all race long. Changes the complete complexion of this race with Herta falling back to 5th spot. Buddy Lazier's moved up into 6th, and we said that this is going to help those Chevrolet, Schechter and Bell and those guys, and it certainly has.
Well, Lazier now in 5th. Castronevitz in the Toyota is 7th. 8th is Bell. 9th is Schechter. Dixon is back to 10th. Sharp, wow, Sharp brought back to 11th. Matsura is 12th. And Jacques Lazier is 13th. He's just gotten around Patrick, so he's 13th. Patrick is 14th, and Barron is 15th.
And all the leaders right up there together. The first 9, 10 cars all very close to each other. And now here comes Herta.
Herta back around Hornish.
We're going to find out.
He's up to 3rd position. He's got around Franchitti.
Well, so far he looks like the real deal. He got back to 5th or 6th spot. He's come right back up. He's just been picking them off one by one. If he goes around these two guys as quickly as he went around everybody else.
What was Kanaan waving about?
I have no idea.
Kanaan was fist in the air outside the cockpit there, that green and white number 11.
Now, you know those guys never get mad at each other.
The only guys that he could wave a fist at are his teammates.
That's right. That's what I mean. You know they couldn't be mad at each other. They're always get along so well. That's what they tell everybody anyway.
Is that for PR purposes?
Well, I don't know. I think they do get along well. I'm not sure.
But he was upset with somebody.
But right now, Herta has just very methodically marched right straight back to the front. And look at those 2 yellow cars. Schechter has now moved into 7th. He's gotten around Buddy Lazier. So Schechter, he's showing some of that power that he had early in the day. Now he's going to try to split 2 guys as he's going right between Franchitti and Castronevitz.
And he made it work.
Wow.
That's the kind of racing we've come to expect here at Michigan.
Well, and that's exactly what we said. The only way he had a chance was under a yellow to get back with that lead pack. He's using the drafting to his huge advantage, and he's pulled right back up to where he can compete with everybody else on the racetrack. As long as he was out there, 20 seconds behind and running by himself, he had no chance of catching the lead pack.
And here comes Herta with a little shove from Hornish. And Herta's back out in front.
And it appears that Hornish, he too uses that draft to his advantage about as well as anybody on the racetrack.
And here comes Schechter.
Wow, he got a huge run off that corner. He's going to go by 1, maybe 2 guys as he pulls right up beside Weldon.
Well, Schechter won this race 3 years ago. Remember that trying season he had as a rookie with Team Cheever?
Well, he's not even going to pull down there and use the draft. He's going to stay on the outside and just try to out horsepower him. Nope, can't do it this time.
Well, 3 drivers have won a race in their rookie season. Buzz Calkins won the inaugural IRL event at Disney World back in '96. In '97, Jim Guthrie won at Phoenix. And we have a yellow on the racetrack. And Castronevitz has just launched an engine. He's going to bail out of that thing in a hurry with a lot of fire behind that Toyota.
That's oil that's spilling out, and there was oil that caught on fire. It went out pretty quickly because it all dumped on the racetrack, it looked like, and caught fire as it.
Well, he still had a small fire back there. We were talking about the rookies that won in their rookie season, and we mentioned the '97 win with Jim Guthrie at Phoenix, and of course the win 3 years ago here at Michigan for Schechter. So Castronevitz out of the race.
Now, tough break for him. He was having a pretty good run. He was running that top 10 and keeping up with that lead pack until that happened. And all of those guys really in the first 9 or 10 spots were running very close to each other.
Lost his. The second yellow of the afternoon.
Yeah, that's.
So now the question will be, we saw what happened as they ganged up on Herta on the last restart. We'll watch what happens this time.
Well, Herta is going to do this restart a lot differently than it did the last one, I can guarantee you. He's going to pick up the throttle a lot quicker. He's not going to let those guys get that big run on him and just blow him away like he did the last time.
Penske racing, and Tim, we just saw the plume of smoke. Any warning at all for Elio?
No, not at all. Actually, we had things going our way for once. We were sitting there only having to do one more stop to the end, and these other guys were going to have to stop twice. So I thought for once we were well positioned, but no warning at all.
Once Elio climbed out of the car, I saw you turn your radio over and talk to Roger Penske to relay information as part of a team. What are you telling Roger here for the late laps?
We're just talking a little bit about engine strategy. You know, we've seen 2 engines now have problems, so just talking about maybe being a little more conservative to the end here.
Does Sam possibly have something for that Honda up front?
We'll see. He's done a good job staying in line here to see what happens here at the end.
All right, Tim Cindric, his driver, Elio Castroneves, walks away. Sam Hornish still in the hunt here. We check in further up pit road with Jamie Little.
Well, Dr. Punch, we have 60 laps to go. Right now I have Bobby Rahal, owner of number 16 for Danica Patrick. Bobby, right now with this 60 laps to go, what is your strategy with Danica?
Well, you know, we're having troubles getting going on the restarts. It seems to take about 5 or 6 laps for the tires to come in. So I don't think that at this stage of the game we're a lap down. And I think the only way we're going to get it back is to be a little aggressive on the strategy. So we're going to, it depends, I guess, on what everybody else does. But if they come in, we're going to stay out.
It's a poker match, guys. You heard that word multiple times. We'll see what happens with Danica Patrick.
I don't think they're going to come in right now, probably at 140 laps.
Well, if they do now, then they only have to make one more pit stop. So I would think the first 4 guys at least would come in. Herta, Hornish, Weldon, and Kanaan.
A long walk back to the infield for Castroneves.
So there we are, things starting to happen. We've just seen some dramatic pictures of Elio Castroneves coming off the track, and thankfully he seems to be okay. But Paul, the flames are always a bit of a worry.
Yes, certainly if you're sitting in there expecting to be towed back into the pit, that's the last place you'd want to be with flames. But no, as Tim Cindric was saying there, the engine strategy, I think every team now is going to look at where they are. There's been a Honda and a Toyota blow up, as we discussed earlier. A lot of pressure on these engines, you know, even though they're changing gear, they're only changing gear by 100 RPM. So this thing is running more than 9,000 RPM for 400 miles. So,
and worryingly, the flames, as we can see, still there.
Not to worry.
Not to worry.
Delara will make a few quid out of it, that's for sure.
Johnny, from the driver's perspective, that must be a bit of a worry when you're sitting there chatting away and suddenly you see the flames are still going.
Well, he probably couldn't actually see those. I mean, your rearward vision's quite restricted. He would have seen the initial burst of flames, but that little flick behind him, he probably wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah, but nevertheless, it does surely make you want to get out of the car quite quickly when you know what's going on.
Yeah, he's obviously disappointed, and he's probably talking to the team to let them know what's happened. And if he hasn't seen the flames, he's unaware.
So disappointment then for Elio Castroneves, but overall the race is starting to get a little more interesting now, Paul, isn't it? Tactically, we saw Herta losing the lead and then fighting back very well.
Yes, I mean, he came straight through, didn't he? He didn't hang about at all. So
he recovered well, but what happened? He seemed to be caught by the others, napping almost.
Well, the leader is supposed to control the pack on the restarts, and I think what happened was he kind of backed everybody up, but everybody had thought, well, hang on a minute, we're not going to fall for this one, and they'd taken a run on him.
Yeah.
Now, ordinarily, I think they would have flagged it off and gone round again, but as we saw with the start of this race, the flagging is pretty poor. They're just allowing anything to happen. But as we can see now, there's a lot of people in. Let's see who stays out, because they're going to be the ones who are playing poker.
Absolutely. Let's now go back for the pit stops, and Gary Lee and Larry Rice once again.
Hit there.
I don't think Herta made a pit stop.
I don't think Herta, no, Herta did not come in.
Wow. Wow, that's a huge gamble on his part.
Well, well, well. I'm going to hear momentarily from Castroneves during this yellow that he brought out with the blown engine.
The pit lane for service is Elio Castroneves, but you jogged back here.
Oh yeah, I didn't want to go to the hospital. When I watched this race, it seems to be very exciting. Back there was kind of we're pushing very hard. Unfortunately, the car was horrible at the beginning, but I found a partner, Buddy Lazier. He's strong. He might end up. I don't know about Brian, but he might end up right there. So we just kept going. All of a sudden, the engine let go.
Is it starting to wear on you, Elio, the fact that it seems like it's a litany of problems that deny you a chance to climb the fence the way you did at Richmond?
You can't let those things let you down, man. I mean, I'm happy with what I'm doing right now, to be honest. It's a shame, yes. You're frustrated, disappointed, yes. But you have to keep working hard to make sure that the next one's improved. So Never give up, kids.
And Jamie, one thing you can count on is he always has a good Monday. Let's go down though for a problem that has occurred further down.
Wow. Yeah, we had two pit crew members actually hit. You know, we've seen a lot of problems in this pit area before.
Yeah, we've talked several times about how many problems we had in the pits here in Michigan. It looks like a tire from Briscoe's car got down in there and hit a couple of cars on Cheever's team. You can see here comes Briscoe. He came in pretty high up. No, we're not going to see it. I thought they were going to show a replay of it. I guess he was just coming in for another pit stop. Obviously not
serious at all, as we've seen in the past.
But they've, you know, they did take a whack, and they're going to take them back and have them looked at. So tough break for Team Cheever, and they've had their share of problems over the year.
Well, once again, the second yellow of the afternoon, and we'll turn them loose the next time. Once they come by, they'll have one lap to go. Herta, Weldon, Scheckter. And we'll see what kind of a restart we have this time, because if you'll recall, Herta just got shuffled back to about 5th or 6th position on that last restart.
Wow, I'm really shocked that Herta and Weldon did not come in. Those guys are going to have to pit within the next 15 laps. Danica tell you what she's doing. She's going to come in, pit. She's going to turn the fuel down. She's going to try to ride it to the end without a pit stop. Promise you, that's exactly what she's going to do.
Well, you heard Bobby say that they were going to stay out if the other ones came in, but he's rethought that.
But she waited till the very last second. She came in. There's 55 laps to go. They'll turn that thing on dead lean and try to just ride it to the end without making a pit stop. They got nothing to lose. They're a lap down. They're not going to get back on the lead lap any other way.
All right, here's what happened in the pits. Off to the right of your screen.
Oh, you can see Briscoe was heading out. He was heading out when the wheel came off. The left rear wheel came out, went over there and bopped a couple of guys that were just standing in the pit area. So wasn't anything that Briscoe did wrong. The left rear wheel just was not put on properly. And look at this. Once again, Weldon gets a run on Herta. Herta stays out of. Oh, look at everybody. Herta stayed out of the throttle so long. Everybody got a huge run on him. Man, that's a great way to have a crash.
But why wouldn't Herta pick up the throttle real early?
Well, I think he tried to hold everybody up by picking it up extremely late. The trouble was, everybody back there, and I mean everybody, was on the hammer way before he was. He lost tons and tons of ground. Again, he's going to be back in 5th spot.
There's a drag race down into turn 3. Who's going to lead this lap? Looks like it's going to be Hornish.
Hornish is he got a great run back there. And not only that, he's already made his pit stop, so he won't have to stop for a while.
How about Matsura? They're in 2nd position.
Well, Matsura stayed out. He's another one of those guys that did not make a pit stop that time by. But Herta and Weldon, they're going to have to stop. They might have to make 2 more pit stops. That's what I don't really understand.
Well, Patrick still a lap off the pace, but we'll see if that strategy works. There goes Kanaan to the high side, 3 wide now with Matsura in the middle.
Well, Kanaan seems to have
pulls down in behind Hornish.
Herta, again, very strong down there in 3rd spot. Went right to the bottom of the racetrack, and really has no place to go, because Matsura is running so close to the bottom. Oh, I don't know. He might have snuck by him on the inside.
Like Matsura opened up a hole for him. But look at Scheckter on the high side of Bell.
Yeah.
There's Bell on the inside of Scheckter. Those are teammates. We know what happened last week to teammates.
Well, and those 2 guys running pretty good. And there's you can see those cars are not. They are moving around out there. I mean, they do move around out there on the racetrack. So you got to be a little bit careful when you're running that close to these guys.
See Franchitti in that second group of cars back there, the blue and white car with Lazier. Now they single file down the backstretch. Kanaan now up to 2nd position. Weldon up to 3rd. But we'll see how this pit strategy works out.
Well, it will be interesting. Everybody's going to have to make at least 1 more pit stop. I'm assuming that that Weldon and Herta figure that they can make it on one more pit stop, even if it is a green flag pit stop. We'll see, though.
Just under 50 laps to go, or a quarter of this race. Sam Hornish, who's the winningest driver in the IndyCar series with 14. He picked his 14th win up last week at Milwaukee. Out in front of this one with Kanaan riding in second. Still that battle between Scheckter and Bell for 4th position.
The two teammates battling pretty hard right here. Now then Scheckter gets by and pulls down in line, trying to get that little bit of a draft that'll get him back up towards the front. The Toyota of Horner. Look at this, 4 wide, and you can see him bottom out way wide as he went way up to the top of the racetrack. Gosh,
he was up in no man's land.
It sure was. You would think there would be maybe some marbles up there that might cause you some problem, but he made it work. He made it through the corner. That's all that matters.
Hornish, Kanaan, Weldon, Scheckter, then Bell. You see all 5 in your picture, and then Herta. So Herta was shuffled back to 6th position.
Here goes Kanaan. He's going to try to make that draft. These guys all now, they're getting close to the end of the race. Only less than 50 laps to go. So they're going to be trying to do some different things to see what they might be able to do come the last few laps. How that draft works, how they can use it to their advantage, how it's going to hurt them. And you can see right now, Kanaan made it work for him as he's going around, and Weldon tries to go 3 wide and move up.
Who's going to lead this lap? They come off the corner side by side. Looks like Kanaan.
Yeah, Kanaan's looks like he's going to lead that lap, and Weldon's going to follow him through.
Hornish is dropped back to 3rd. Scheckter goes 4th. 5th now is Herta. Herta's gotten around Bell. Now Bell comes back around Herta on the high side, and here comes Scheckter to the high side of Hornish.
Well, you got to say a lot for Thomas Scheckter. He didn't get rattled. He didn't do anything stupid. He didn't lose his patience. He waited on a yellow flag, which is all he needed. And once he got it, he got right back in the hunt. Thomas Scheckter of 2 or 3 years ago probably would have done
against the fence by now.
He would have been in the fence trying to catch up with those guys. So you got to give his team a lot of credit for telling him, there's going to be a yellow. They can't run this whole race without
when you talk about maturity in race driver, let's go back to the early years of Johnny Rutherford, who drives the pace car, 3-time Indy 500 champion. But early in his career, even mid-career, he tore up a lot of race cars.
They didn't call him Johnny Rutherford for nothing.
So you're right along with Scheckter back in 3rd position. We've got 2 Andretti Green cars out in front in Kanaan and Weldon. Andretti Green with 3 of the top 5 right now. Franchitti back in 7th position on 2 different occasions this afternoon. If you've just joined us, the Andretti Green boys were running 1, 2, 3, and 4. But look at this battling for position. There's Scheckter back and 4th, then Hornish, Bell, and Franchitti all together on the racetrack.
The top 7 cars just nose to tail. Lazier a little ways back, but he too's pretty close.
Herta's up to 3rd. So he's gotten around.
No, he's still back in 5th. That's Scheckter that's in 3rd.
Scheckter.
So Herta is going to have to stop. He's run 38 laps. He's going to have to make a pit stop pretty shortly. Weldon will have to make a pit stop in the next 5 to 6 laps as well. So we'll see. They'll be able to make it, but the problem will be if there is a yellow, they're going to be a long way behind after this pit stop.
Well, they're going to have to make one more pit stop. Well, all these guys.
Everybody's going to have to make one more pit stop. As long as it's all under the green, they'll probably be okay. But if there is a yellow, then it could really put those guys in a world of hurt.
Well, there's Scheckter and Hornish. That is 3rd and 4th. Franchitti is back there battling with Bell for 5th position. There's Bell in the Rockstar number 2, and there's Franchitti in the blue and white number 27. You look back from Schecter's car back to Hornish.
And Hornish, Schecter's running right where Hornish wants to run. Scheckter runs the high groove. So does Hornish. Hornish moves to the bottom to try to get around him. He's not working as well on the bottom and hasn't been able to pull that pass off. But you can see Scheckter. Well, there he did that time. I said he couldn't do it. Well, he made it work.
Whoa, look how high Scheckter was coming off that second corner, and he takes the advantage down the backstretch. Well, live coverage from the Irish Hills of southern Michigan, the Michigan International Speedway. Tony Kanaan leads this thing over his teammate
Yeah, it's Weldon, then Hornish, then Schechter, as you can see right there. Bell behind them, and then Franchitti. All those guys just one right after another, very close to each other, all using that draft, all trying to figure out a way to use it to their advantage near the end of the race.
How about the 3 Chevrolets all in the top 8? Because Schechter is 4th, Bell is 5th, and Buddy Lazier is 8th.
Well, we haven't seen that a lot, that's for sure. The Hondas have been dominating this series almost all year long. But Weldon up there, he's going to have to pit shortly. He's run 41 laps. Herta's run 45 laps. A lot of those were under yellow, but still, they're getting close to the point where they're going to have to make their pit stops.
Look at this. Townsend Bell to the inside of his teammate. You're right along with Schechter. Off to the left is Townsend Bell. That's the battle for 4th spot.
Well, we've talked about him earlier, how well he'd run and how he really deserved a good ride, steady ride in this series. And you can see right there, he's not taking anything even from his teammate. He's going to go out there and try to prove himself.
So we have 2 teammates running 1st and 2nd, then Hornish, then 2 teammates running 4th and 5th, and now Townsend Bell looks to the inside of Hornish.
Yeah, and he's got that bottom groove. We talked about how everybody said the bottom groove did not feel all that comfortable. Looks like he's got that pretty well figured out. But
speaking of the top groove, yeah, here goes Schechter.
Schechter got a huge run on both of those guys, and now then he's going to go around Hornish. Wow.
Hornish going to lose 2 positions.
He just got Chevrolet to death, I'll tell you right.
Went from 3rd to 5th. And Townsend Bell is in 3rd, 4th is Schechter, and 5th now is Hornish. So how soon before Weldon and Herta make their stop?
Well,
Weldon's gone 44 since his last stop. Herta's gone 48.
I'm guessing Herta will come in within the next 2 laps. He just cannot stay out there much longer. But he's back to 7th place right now. And, you don't want to run him out of fuel. That's the one thing you don't want to do. And look at those teammates again. Schechter working on Bell.
Well, for the dip and dive routine there, started around the high side. Looked like he's going to try to go low.
All of a sudden,
here comes Franchitti.
He's all of a sudden kind of got his act together, and he's up. There goes Herta. Herta's heading for the pits right now.
So Herta heads for a pits. We'll anticipate a stop by Weldon here in a couple of laps. There's Franchitti on the low side of Hornish, and that is for the 5th spot.
Franchitti was back. He was back in about 8th spot, and he's really come on. He's been running some of the fastest laps on the racetrack the last 2 or 3 times out. He was the fastest guy last time around.
Now Herta wants everybody else to make a pit stop under green.
Well, this could be the make or break. Of course, there's 35 laps, 36 laps to go, so he can make it to the end. That's why he stayed out so long. He wanted to make sure he could make it to the end. He's going to take a lot of fuel. It's going to be a long pit stop.
10.3 seconds, and he's back underway. But his hope now is that everybody else will make stops under green.
Yeah, because he just want to lap down. If there is a yellow flag,
Danica. Now, does she get it off the racetrack before the yellow comes out?
Well, it doesn't appear. It looked like she was clear down on the inside before that thing expired, so we haven't seen a yellow yet. She was
back in 16th position, a lap off the pace.
They did bring out the yellow. This is just going to be, well, it may not be such a bad deal for Herta because he will be able to get his lap back. Everybody else is going to stop now. Weldon, he lucked out. He didn't have to stop under the green, but everybody else will stop. Herta, when they put the pace car out, he will get to gain his lap back.
Now Herta's getting up to speed coming out of the pits.
Oh, he didn't lose a lap. Wow. Was the yellow flag out though?
Now, when did the yellow flag come out? Well, we'll have to wait and see what race control would dictate.
The yellow flag had to be out. Those guys would have a lot more speed than he would. So he had a lot more speed. I don't know. That's be an interesting call right there because everybody else obviously had slowed down at that point.
Oh, we understand Dixon is also showing some smoke. The pits are now open, but Dixon has been showing smoke in car number 9.
Well, he's down on the pit apron. Danica Patrick obviously not extremely happy right now. She's looking looking back at the car. She's going to crawl across the pit lane and head for the garage.
And run from the media.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody's going to want to talk to her. Now here comes Herta. See, they've already gone by.
Yeah, see, they passed him. The yellow flag comes out. Everybody else slows down.
And he stays on the throttle.
Yeah, I mean, they can't let him do that. If they let him do that, then they're opening a bag of worms, because everybody else obviously has already slowed down.
See, now he stays on the throttle.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just not right.
They can't allow that to happen.
No.
Well, here they all come in anyway, so it could be a moot subject now.
Well, the difference is that he would have to be at the back of the lead pack instead of the front of the lead pack if he was made to go back where he should be.
Yeah, we'll see what the call is from race control and Brian Barnhart. There's Scheckter. Scheckter came in 4th position.
This is a very important pit stop. Your position here is going to be very critical. And you can see everybody came out just about the way they went in. Everybody seemed to have a pretty good pit stop. Not a lot of problems.
This should not be a long yellow. I'm not sure exactly where her engine let go, how much moisture or oil was on the racetrack. But Franchitti did not take on tires. Fuel only for Franchitti.
Well, that's an interesting call in itself. Maybe the tires are not that important here. Obviously,
we thought that was going to be well, Dixon's climbing out, so his race is over. We thought the tire issue would be a major story here this weekend.
Yeah, the tires, though, have not, although the guys complained a little bit when they first got here, the tires have not been a big issue. Don't seem to be wearing. It'll be interesting to see, though. A lot of times new tires are faster. Obviously, Franchitti doesn't think they're going to be faster. And they're going to let Herta stay up there. I have to tell you, I think that's a bad call.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all.
I just don't see how that can happen.
This is pit exit. There is Franchitti. There goes Kanaan. And there's Weldon. There's Hornish, Scheckter, Bell. Yeah, I don't see how that can stand, because when he came out of the pits, he was clearly a lap off the pace. We're going to hear from Danica momentarily.
You know, this.
Tell you what, Todd, she's hard to keep up with. She was running. She was all by herself after that incident. We just saw her have a mechanical. Danica, your first mechanical. What happened out there?
You know, I just went into 3 and 4 and just, you know, something might go behind me.
We saw you in the cockpit. You were trying to get out, and you're fighting to get out with the smoke. How hot was it?
It's hot out, but more than anything, I'm a little afraid of fire, so I just didn't want the thing to be igniting with me sitting in it, so I didn't feel like getting pulled all the way to the end of the pit lane with a fire behind me.
You know, a lot of people thought since this is the first super speedway since Indy, this would be your shot. I know you were struggling with the car a little bit. How would you rate your performance today?
I mean, I always say that the hardest days are the best days for a driver because they take the most amount of work. The car was on and off and on and off, and just trying to find the grip out there, and, you know, the beginning was definitely a handful. It was a little bit fun in the middle of the race. I was picking them off and, you know, nearly got the lap back if it wasn't for Herta, but, you know.
How tough are those restarts for you?
I just don't have any grip. I don't know. I don't feel like the tires are hot enough. I don't know. I got to figure something out, because I can get the gun it part right and, you know, time it, but I just, you know, when the laps start to click off, I just feel like I don't have any grip, so I'll have to figure something out.
It's a learning curve for Danica Patrick. She has a smile on her face. Good news is she's okay, and she said she was having fun out there, guys.
Well, now, this goes back to what Bobby Rahal said earlier, that it took 4 or 5 laps to get those tires warmed up.
Yeah, and maybe, you know, could be an issue, could be the way they had the car set up, could be just that she's not used to it yet. I don't really know. I mean, I'm sure she's struggling to understand it, and if she doesn't understand it, there's no way we can understand it. That's for sure.
Well, it's still, what I don't understand is how Herta can be out in front.
Well, I agree with you. He should be a lap. He should be in that position, but he should be a lap down and be able to pass the pace car. And
he should be on the rear of the lead lap when this race resumes.
Exactly. And it doesn't look like that's what they're going to do. But So we'll see. He's got a
very clearly when he came out of the pits, as you look at Scott Dixon walking back to the garage area, it was very clear when he left the pit area, the entire pack was going by him. The yellow came out, and he stood on the throttle and went on back by them.
Under the green, on the green, he was clearly in like 5th or 6th place or 7th place even, and he blew by those guys. If you remember a few years ago at the Indianapolis 500, they had that problem. It took them almost a year to figure out who won that race. But anyway, they're going to let it stand, and so that's the decision of the chief steward, Brian Barnhart.
Well, unfortunately, the drivers who would quickly protest are all his teammates right now, because Franchitti is 2nd, Kanaan is 3rd, and Weldon 4th.
Yeah, and you can see he's taken off already. He's not going to have happen to him what happened to him before. He took off way early this time.
But there's no start. No start's been waved off. The start's been waved off, maybe for that reason.
Well, he took off way too quick. He knew what happened to him the last 2 times. He got blown away. There's a cone out there in the corner. They're told not to pick up the throttle before they get to that cone. The last couple of times he waited till he was well past that cone, and they blew by him. So he thought, well, this time I'll just get way ahead of everybody, and they just told him, no way, we're not going to let you do that.
So let's see what transpires with now 29 laps to go.
Well,
more stops, no more pit stops.
And you can see a much faster start than we've had before. I mean, he's already throttling it already, and he's way over in turn 3.
Well, let's see if they wave the green flag this time for the restart.
Well, looks like they're going to let him go.
Let him go, and here comes Kanaan on the inside of Franchitti for 2nd position.
Well,
Herta has been the class of the field today. However, he should not be leading this thing right now.
No, I think if I was an official, I'd have to have called that a lot differently, I must say. But he is fast. He's out front, and once he's out front, he's been hard to pass all day long.
There goes Weldon by Franchitti. So Franchitti goes quickly from 2nd to 4th. And here comes Harnish. He's going to take a bite out of Franchitti. And here comes Scheckter.
Yeah, you can see that Harnish got a big run on him. Went to the outside. And Scheckter, you're right. He appears to be one of the faster guys on the racetrack right now.
So now with 27 laps to go, you watch that battle back there for 4th position. That's Franchitti on the inside, the blue and white number 27. And the Marlboro number 6 is Harnish. Here comes the yellow number 4 of Scheckter. And Schechter's teammate Townsend Bell right behind him in 6th, 7th. 8th is Sharp.
And while these guys are
Buddy Lazier. Oh, look at this. For the lead, Tony Kanaan on the high side.
Well, I guess maybe his teammates do have something for him here towards the end of the race, as Tony Kanaan pulls up and just blows right on by. Well,
and here comes Weldon. Well, he didn't exactly blow by him.
He didn't, did he? I thought he was going to be by and pull down in front of him, and he didn't do that. And Herta came back on the bottom side.
And here comes with a great vantage point to watch this battle for the lead is Weldon. He says, I think I'll just go up on the high side and I'll have a piece of the action.
He got both of those guys, used both of them as a draft, and he got a run on both of them, moved clear to the outside. And we talked about this place having 2 and 3 grooves. Well, not a better example than that right there. Kanaan almost moved into his teammate right there as he moved up the racetrack, and Weldon was the guy that was there.
Well, Herta remains out in front. Kanaan 2nd, Weldon 3rd. Scheckter is 4th.
Well, Scheckter gaining on these guys. Right?
Oh, almost contact right there between them. Well, there may have been contact between the teammates.
Well, Kanaan has, that's the 2nd time he's moved and almost run into Weldon. I mean, both times Kanaan moved on the racetrack, made a sudden move, and Dan Weldon was right there.
Kanaan has to know his teammate is there.
Well, you would think, but he...
as many laps as they've been running together, you'd think he would know what's around him.
2 separate times he moved up and one time down, and both times Weldon happened to be the guy that was right in the crosshairs.
Well, Weldon, speaking of being in the crosshairs, right now he has Scheckter all over his rear wing on lap 178.
Yeah, and Harnish right back behind him. Franchitti, Buddy Lazier, and Bell. All those guys, the first 7 or 8 guys. Look at that. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, right in a row. 7, I guess.
Well, the Hondas are 1, 2, and 3. Then you've got a Chevrolet with Schechter. Then the Toyota of Hornish. Boy, Schechter's going high, low, looking for a place that car likes to run.
Yeah, he came off the bottom of the racetrack. When you come off the bottom of the racetrack, you pretty much have to drift up a little bit to keep the revs up. And right now, those 3 Hondas battling each other pretty hard. Hasn't given anybody else much of a chance. But here comes Sam Hornish on the outside of Schechter.
Top 3 nose to tail right now. Now Hornish, or that's Kanaan, goes to the high side. And look at Weldon.
Wow, he lost the front end a little bit, pulled way wide. I think Schechter's going to get a chance to go by him this time. Nope, guess not. He went so wide, I thought he surely scrubbed off enough speed to give Schechter a chance to get by him, but did not happen.
But again, he goes high again.
Well, he did that on purpose. The last lap, he did not. He was running lower on the racetrack and washed up the racetrack when he lost the grip off the front wings, or the air off the front wings.
Look at Lazier.
Well,
Lazier in the other yellow submarine. The teammate. Look at that. 2 Chevrolets nose to tail right there, back in 4th and 5th.
And Hornish, he lost a couple of spots right there real quick.
Lost about 4 spots.
And here goes Weldon. He and Kanaan leaving the bottom wide.
Oh, I see a spin. I see some tire smoke. How many cars involved? At least 3.
Well, Townsend Bell is one of them.
Well, there's Matsuura, one of the target cars, and that's Yasukawa in 24. We just saw a glimpse of tire smoke, and there's at least 3 or 4 cars involved.
Yeah,
that's Jacques Lazier
is one of them. 2 of Ganassi's cars involved in this thing, it appears. Wow.
Well, there's the Yasukawa.
And that's Jacques Lazier that he's sitting there with. And of course, we saw.
Is Briscoe involved in this too?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I saw the same car from 2 different angles. We know Lazier, we know Yasukawa, and we know Matsuura. Those are the 3 cars that we saw for sure.
Wasn't Townsend Bell involved?
Townsend Bell, yes, we did see him. So there's 4 of the cars. So there's
4 cars. Matsuura. There's Townsend Bell.
There's the 2. So I guess Briscoe was not involved. I thought I saw Jacques Lazier from 2 different angles during the crash, 2 different places. And
all right, let's see on a replay, Larry, if we can ascertain what happened.
Well, it looks like Townsend Bell.
Townsend Bell lost it. Scott Sharp got by on the high side. There goes Mira. He's going to slide up the racetrack.
Oh, man.
Terrific impact with Jacques Lazier. Incredible impact with Jacques Lazier in the one. Now here's, is this Jacques? This is Jacques right here. See the smoke.
Wow, he was way up in the air. He had that thing turned. He tried to miss him.
Then he got nailed by Yasukawa.
Yeah. Wow.
So first of all, he got hit, we're speaking of Jacques Lazier, got hit by Townsend Bell, then he hit the wall, then he got hit by Yasukawa.
You could see all the debris all up and down that racetrack. We saw Jacques Lazier get out, so that's good news. He really hit Townsend Bell a ton.
Now let's watch again. There it is. Now there's the impact. There's the impact. Second impact. There's the third impact.
Wow.
So he was like a billiard ball there.
Yeah, Townsend Bell just lost it. We saw him wiggling earlier in the day.
Earlier in the race, he wiggled a couple times.
And but he was still running very quick. You can see right there. He tried to get. Well, I think maybe he got tagged and sent sideways. Jacques Lazier did. I think that was Matsuura that tagged him and sent him sideways, and then he just nailed Townsend Bell really, really hard.
Well, let's take. I don't know if we can see that again.
I think he got hit from behind and spun, and you know he was still straight and then got hit from behind and spun and hit Townsend Bell sideways.
All right, let's look again. There's Townsend Bell.
Yeah,
he got hit.
He got hit.
Behind
He got nailed.
Matsura. So he got hit. There's the second impact for. So actually, Jacques had 4 impacts. He got hit first by Matsura from the behind. Then he got hit. Then he got into Townsend Bell. Then he hit the wall. Now he gets hit a 4th time.
Yeah. Yeah, he was just a victim of circumstances there. As
he was slowing down and he got tagged by Matsura.
Matsura nailed him. And, you know, things are, you've got to remember, you're running 215 miles an hour. Things are happening so fast. All he could see was the smoke. He was trying to slow down, and Matsura didn't see him and ran into him. That's all.
Let's go down to trackside.
Times earlier in the race with Townsend Bell running in the front. I know you just watched the replay, Doug. What'd you see?
Well, it just looked like he got a little bit loose. We were just trying to run and get to the end. Townsend was, you know, for a guy who hadn't been in a car in a year, he did a tremendous job today. We were coming down the main straightaway here, and it looked like he was trying to get under Sam, and Sam actually cut him off, so he had to lift. So I don't know if that caused a little bit of an issue there or not, but I'm just happy he's okay. Rockstar car ran up front again. We just got to get that car to get to the finish, and hopefully in victory lane here soon.
Will we see Townsend Bell back in the car in the next race?
Well, I hope we see Thomas Indy back in the car in the next race, but, you know, we'll see what happens here over the next couple weeks with the doctors.
2 very solid drivers, guys.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be a long cleanup because look at all the debris up there, all the shards of fiberglass and carbon composite that is up on the racetrack right now under our 4th yellow of the afternoon.
Hi there, welcome back to our coverage of this dramatic race from the Michigan International Speedway. Less than 20 laps to go and all hell breaks loose. Townsend Bell seemed to be the instigator of what happened. Paul, let's get your verdict on it and we'll take another look from different angles. Townsend Bell, as they say, got loose and the car suddenly seemed to go away from him.
And boy, didn't he get loose.
He did. There he goes.
Here we go. I mean, he put up an astonishing fight here to try and hold it. I mean, Johnny will give you a greater insight, but once these things happen, you can't. Then, unfortunately, Jacques Lazier comes in on the frame. Then our good friend, the Japanese driver, Matsura, and the whole thing turns into huge carnage here. I mean, hit from behind, spun round. It was very, very good that Jacques had his accident sideways on against Townsend Bell because going straight in, it's not a good move.
And Johnny, you were saying that Townsend did well. Paul was just saying, tribute to Townsend for actually keeping that car under control at what looked an impossible situation.
I know he almost saved it. I mean, it's easy to say afterwards that he lost it, but you know it's very difficult in that situation not to lose it, and he really did. He almost kept it on there.
And although there's a lot of debris, these cars must be so strong because huge impacts there.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they're travelling so fast. You know, even if you get the brakes on and scrub off 50 miles an hour, you're still doing 170 miles an hour. So, you know, they do take an awful lot of impact.
And then, Paul, to hit the wall and then be hit in turn, the cars not only stayed upright, all right, there was a lot of damage and debris all over the track, but fantastically strong chassis.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is these things are a safety cell. Fortunately, you know, we've moved on. These carbon fibre cars are so safe. A big accident like this, fortunately, doesn't normally have any injuries. But these cars are 1.5 times stronger in a crash test program than a Formula One car, so that gives you some idea of what they're looking at.
Big problems though for the organisers now. We're so near the end of the race, and obviously a huge clear-up job to do. What do they do?
Well, Brian Hurd has already been given his drive-by card, and his teammates have got him into the lead of this race. He doesn't appear to have been very good on any of the restarts.
Yeah.
If it's less than 5 laps, maybe he's going to have a problem. But if he's got 5 laps or more, I think he'll win this race comfortably.
Yes.
The dark horse and my money, of course, is still on Thomas. But I think in real life, Andretti Green's got it sewn up.
Yeah, and Johnny, it's a shame somehow when an incident like this means that we're going to go back to racing maybe with just a couple of laps to go or whatever.
Right.
But that's the way it goes under their rules.
Yeah, I mean, if as a driver, sometimes it's the most infuriating thing, a yellow flag. Other times, you know, it can save your day. So it's just one of those things you have to take it with, you know, roll with the punches.
Those drivers, we obviously don't know the details. They all looked okay as they walk away, but they will have been shaken up big time by that because that is seriously worrying.
Yeah, adrenaline's a pretty amazing drug. You tend to find you jump out of the car and you feel fine, and an hour later it
really hits you.
You start to ache a little bit here and there, depending on which bits have been hit.
They would now all be taken off, would they, to the hospital on the site for a check over in the medical centre, make sure they're okay?
Yeah, I mean, the safety on American ovals is fantastic. You know, I've had a couple of big accidents, and you know, literally before the car stops moving, there's a doctor beside the car. You know, they're amazingly fast and very professional.
Okay, boys, thank you very much for that. Right, for the moment, let's cross back. We can now hear from Chip Ganassi out there.
Well, you know, I mean, Townsend Bell just, you know, this is his first race in I don't know how long, and he just spun in front of everybody there and took everybody out. I think we were just a victim. We just got caught up in it, had no place to go.
Now let's talk about Scott Dixon. We talked about his best start. I mean, one of his best starts of the year, starting 4th. Now he's out of the race. What happened to him?
You know, Toyota did a great job. They made a big effort on coming with some new engines, and obviously you saw Helio had a problem with his, and we had some crankcase pressure that was building in the engine. The telemetry said it wasn't going to go very much further, so it was starting to smoke a little bit. We pulled in rather than have a big event on the track.
So up till now, what's your assessment on today's race?
Well, you know, Jamie, this business is chicken one day and feathers the next. You know, yesterday we had a great day. I mean, we qualified well. Reed Sorensen won the Busch race last night for us. You know, and today it was feathers today. No chicken.
So there we are, that's the very latest from the track. We'll be going back in a couple of minutes' time, hopefully to pick up the last few laps of what's turned out to be a very dramatic race. Stay with us, we're going to take a short break. Welcome back to our coverage of this Firestone Indy 400, the race coming to you live from the Michigan International Speedway. Dramatic stuff, as we saw in the last couple of minutes. A big incident, and it all happened when Townsend Bell got loose and there was all sorts of mayhem on the track. We're just going to get a quick reaction from Paul before we go back to the live action. Paul, bearing in mind what we just heard from Johnny, it does look as if, I mean, there's what, 11 laps to go now? Those will tick down. There's still debris on the track. We're not missing any racing. But you think there'll be maybe 4 or 5 laps and then a quick
4 or 5 laps, and as I say, Brian doesn't seem to get the hang of it in that amount of time, so it could be interesting.
Yeah, and your boy, of course, your tip rather, was Thomas Scheckter, who's not looking too bad.
He's looking quite handy, and he's very strong on restarts.
Yes. So, and Herta has got a problem with these restarts. We've seen it throughout the race.
Well, I don't think he's got a problem. He's tried to back the pack up. I mean, the trick is...
But it keeps going wrong.
In a restart, the leader dictates the pace. But there's a couple of people in this race who I don't think like Brian's tactic, and Tony Kanaan appears to be one of them. So, but Brian's losing out each time because he's trying to slow everyone down, then accelerate hard and gain huge momentum. Yeah. Everybody else is just going, oh, he's slowing down, let's go past him. And unfortunately, the flagger, as I've said, you know, tardy restarts from a flagging standpoint. They just seem to want to get on with the race.
Yeah, and I mean, Johnny, from your point of view, can you see what the problem is with Brian Herta, that he's trying to do this and it's not quite working out for him?
Probably just trying to be a little bit too clever. You know, he obviously doesn't want to lose the lead of the race, and he's just trying to control it probably a little bit too much. Everyone else is aware of what he's going to do, and you know, it's just one of those strategy things.
Yeah, but with only a few laps left to go, we're so near the end of this race, this has just really come at the wrong time, if there is a wrong time, you know what I mean?
Well, he hasn't got them really that good so far, so maybe the last one will be the one he does right.
Okay, let me just get your thoughts about what this will do to the teams, because obviously things have happened to drivers and to cars. Is there a big regrouping after this sort of thing, Paul? They've got to finance what they did with the cars, you know.
Well, first job is going to
There's a lot of damage to repair.
Yeah, I mean, the major teams have got 6 cars. They're running 3. They've got 6 in stock. That's the way they look at it.
And each of those is a lot of money to repair or rebuild or replace.
They're $350,000 a time, so yes, that is a considerable amount of money. But, you know, the big teams with the big sponsors, they have to be out every race.
They do, sure. Okay, what we're now going to do is take you back to the track. This time we're going to hear from Roger Penske.
Sorry to see those guys get together so close to the end. It's been a very tight race. Obviously, with this group of cars up front, it's going to be a real trophy dash. I'm glad we're up there. It's going to be any man's game here at the end. But, you know, Sam, this is when he's at his best.
Now, before the caution came out, something was happening where you guys had to let Franchitti go ahead. What happened there?
Well, the officials came down and said that he had passed low on the track, so they said we had to get behind 27. So we did exactly what they said they would, and that's the way they're going to play the game. Hopefully do the same for the other teams, but we're ready to go.
Well, Brian Barnhart said absolutely no dropping your wheels below that white line. Now let's go to Dr. Punch.
Okay, we can tell you then that we will be going back to the action very soon. Right now, though, another short break, and then we'll see the conclusion of what's been a very dramatic race. Stay with us. We have just gone green again, as you can see, 7 laps to go at the Michigan International Speedway. Once again, let's rejoin the closing stages, Gary Lee and Larry Rice.
Nobody has been able to pass him all day long, and it doesn't look like Kanan's going to be able to do it either.
Well, let's wait and see, Larry.
Look at Hornish.
Well, you heard the captain say this is kind of race that he likes. Near the end, trophy dash. But look at Weldon.
Weldon went high, went low. He's got a big run, but he can't go below. Ooh!
Place to go. He almost gets into his other teammate in Kanan.
Those guys really battling each other hard out there. You're right. He almost pulled into Kanan that time. That thing was bouncing around a little bit.
So it's still Herta, then Weldon, then Kanan, then Schechter. Great ride for Buddy Lazier. A limited schedule for Buddy this season with limited sponsorship, but a great ride for the former winner of the Indy 500. He's back there in 5th spot.
Weldon doing everything he can to try to use that draft to make the pass, but here comes Kanan.
5 laps to go, Larry. 5 laps to go, and here comes Schechter.
And actually, when you're farther back in the draft, it displaces more air. So the guys who are farther back, guys that run a second, third, they actually get more air moved out of the way, so they get more of a draft going down the straightaway. Schechter was back there in 4th. He got more air moved around, so he got to run on all 3 of those guys.
I come up on 4 laps to go. It's still Herta.
And you can see everybody trying. Now Kanan went way to the inside. He had to crawl out of the throttle, though, so that's going to give away that position. Weldon squeezed him down to the inside. He had to lift ever so slightly just for a second, and that let Schechter go on by.
All right, Schechter won this thing 3 years ago. Twice he started from the pole. He started today's race from outside the front row. Let's see what he can do the last just over 3 laps.
Well, he's going to look for those guys to make some sort of a mistake. All he can do is try to move to the outside and go around them and hope that something good happens. It's very difficult, though. We've seen Weldon go out there. As long as Herta holds that bottom line and makes them go around the outside, it looks like it's going to be pretty difficult to do.
It looks like it's going to be Herta's race to win. He's been the class of the field throughout the entire weekend through practice, qualifying, and the race itself.
And there goes Kanan back around Schechter
with 2 laps to go. So Schechter has dropped back to 4th. Hornish is now 5th. There's Lazier in 6th. 7th is Franchitti. Franchitti working on Lazier for 6th position. We'll see the white flag the next time by. Kanan takes a look to the high side of Weldon. And here comes Schechter to the inside.
Yeah, it doesn't look like anybody's got anything left for Brian Herta.
We get in this thing under yellow, though, the way they're racing right now.
Well, and here comes Hornish.
Here comes Hornish on the high side as Schechter goes by Kanan down low. Hornish tries the high side. But it still would appear to be Herta's race to win. The white flag is out. Going for his first win of the season. Kanan below the white line. It's Herta. It's Weldon. It's Schechter.
They're battling each other, but they don't have enough for Herta.
And Herta is going to take the victory here over his teammate, Weldon. Weldon retains the big lead in the points championship. Schechter goes 3rd, Kanan 4th, Hornish 5th. So finally, after a frustrating 2 years, Herta finds victory lane.
Well, he certainly was the class of the field today. He had the fastest car all day long. I think we said earlier, nobody passed him. When he was in front, nobody passed him once he was out there, except on the restarts. And you can see all the Team Green happy to see those guys finally get their first victory.
So there we are. What a dramatic finish. A terrific race. Brian Herter, and you've got to give him credit. He was pole sitter, remember, his 3rd pole of the season, his 1st win of the season, and he led from start to finish, held off all the challengers despite what was going on. And Paul, he was a deserved winner. He did very well.
Yeah, without question. I mean, he had an exceptional race, dominated it. Had a good car, though, as we said. He was always able to run in the lead, and that is so hard to do here.
Yeah, but he coped well, as we were saying just now, Johnny, with, you know, when they had the restarts, he was a couple of times caught cold.
That's right.
But he fought back and drove brilliantly.
Final restart, very good under pressure. He obviously knew his car was very good. He could run the white line the whole way around the track, and really anyone that was going to pass him was going to have to go around the outside. And when everything's that close, it's you know, he just had enough to hold on.
Dan Weldon pushed him hard all the way. Scheckter made a good lot of progress at the end as well, Paul?
Yes, it was disappointing that Scheckter couldn't get past Dan Weldon, because obviously you've taken the best from the studio. But
I have, yes.
To be honest, Dan needed that to finish ahead of Tony in the points, because he's building on his lead rather than it's diminishing slightly. So that was a good finish for Dan, because he didn't have the strongest car, but he was able to run that mid-pack all the race.
But it keeps his hopes very much alive. It's been a good performance in that respect.
Very much so.
I mean, there's been talk apparently of the not negative tactics, but you know what I mean, driving defensively.
Well, you have to look to the championship
and preserving
after a
your
certain
lead.
point, yes. But you know, Dan's a racer at the end of the day, and as we saw today, the Andretti Green team, they're racing pretty hard, and there was 1 or 2 moments where perhaps people were gesticulating.
Yeah. What about Franchitti? Didn't see too much of him at the end.
No, he looked strong mid-race. I thought everything was looking good.
I tell you what, let's just interrupt because we're about to go back trackside. We're now going to talk to our race winner, and these are the scenes. Sorry to interrupt you, Johnny, but we're going to hear now direct from the racetrack and see what the winner thought about that race. Well, there we go. Just to confirm it, it's Brian Herter finishing ahead of Dan Weldon, who of course leads the championship. Thomas Scheckter, good performance from him, just pipped for 3rd. There's Dario Franchitti down in 8th place. He was the tip of Johnny Kane earlier. But all in all, it turned out to be a fascinating finish when you think that early on it was all a bit of a procession and we were wondering where the incident was coming from. Well, we found out with a vengeance, didn't we? Those are the unofficial results, just confirming Danica Patrick. Disappointment for her, Paul, that she drove not a bad race and she was a bit unlucky that the way it all fell apart in the end.
Yeah, I mean, as she said, she had the problem with the engine. She thought the thing was on fire, so she quite wisely brought it in. And it was another learning experience for her. But, you know, poor girl has the media all over her at the moment. It's going to take a year, but this time next year, mark my words, she's going to be in the front of this series.
Yeah, Johnny, what's your thoughts about Danica? Because Paul seems to be quite a fan. He says she's obviously got a lot of ability.
Yeah, most definitely the best female driver that we've seen in the American series for a long time.
Yeah, and a good future if she can hang out here, or do you think there's a possible change? People talk about she could go somewhere else.
Well, she's definitely a wanted person at the moment. You know, she's in a very good team, Bobby Ray House.
She talks well, she looks good.
Yeah.
She's obviously a very sort of pleasurable girl in lots of ways. Sponsors will be pleased with her.
Right.
You know, the public like her, they relate to her.
Yeah, she's a big draw for, you know, any company would be wanting to get involved with her. So, you know, that massive media is worth an awful lot.
And when you see racing like that, do you sort of sometimes wish maybe I was still out there driving on those circuits in the States?
No, I had quite enough of ovals the few years I was there, but I mean, it's great racing.
Yeah. Paul, your thoughts then before we close. We're not going to hear from our race winner, but let's just briefly sum up what's going on. Dan Weldon, terrific season for him it's been, hasn't it?
Gosh, yes. I mean he's,
what a year he's had.
Absolutely. I mean, he
may not have won today, but
he's having very strong results. He's putting a lot of points in the bank every weekend. He had a good cushion to start with, 68 points I think going into this race. He's built himself a little bit more of a cushion there on Tony. He's not looking too bad at all for the championship, but there are still 6 races to go, and of course you get 50 points for a win. If he has a couple of DNFs, he could be back down in the mile.
He could be. Yeah, just finally, just going back to Darren Manning, our thoughts are with him, obviously, because the contract, as we know, is finished. Do you think there's a way back for him, maybe? There are other avenues open to him in his career in the States?
Oh, heck, yes. I mean, in that accident there, we don't actually know who has and hasn't been hurt. While people have got out of their cars, you can still have an injury that could put you out for 2 or 3 events.
Sure, and Darren Manning could yet be racing again.
And even for Chip Ganassi.
Who knows? Okay, well, Johnny, thanks very much for joining us. Good to see you again. Hope to see you soon. And Paul, thank you for that. There we go. And that is it from Michigan and from us for now. We're back in 2 weeks' time with the Kentucky Indy 300. You can see that race live. It's here on Sky Sport 3 on the night of Sunday, August the 14th at 8:30 in the evening. So in the meantime, our congratulations, they go to Brian Herter, his third pole and his first win. My thanks, as I said, to Johnny Kane and Paul Cherry, and to you, of course, for watching. We'll leave you now some of the highlights from the Michigan International Speedway. From all of us, for now, it's goodbye. See you next time.